So we started interviewing people who are part of helping to make the march happen. And we had the opportunity to interview Dr. Ali Muhammad. And when we interviewed him, he mentioned that we can't stop at 15 years. He said there are so many untold stories out there that, we have to try to get as many stories as we can. And I thought, I said, okay, that's a good idea. He's right. So I said, well, why don't we just call the film The Million Man March, The Untold Story for now, until we can come up with a better title, So that was just our working title, The Million Man March, The Untold Story. And, when we come up with something better or different, we'll do that. But the title stuck. And here we are, 2010. So 16 years later, it's still called The Million Man March, The Untold Story. The project was and is a labor of love. We did not have a big budget at all. And everyone who helped with the project believed in the vision of telling our own story, our own history. We still have many more stories to tell about the Million Man March, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I hope you enjoy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, one day I'm going to lead a march, brother. And he said, we won't leave Washington until we get what we go for, and that is justice.
Whether or not they have 1 million people here, of course, remains to be seen.
The Million Man March, October 16th, 1995. 2 million black men standing together, shoulder to shoulder, for 14 hours in ranks. They came from all walks of life, from all over the country. At the call of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it was a day of atonement, a holy day, called on a Monday, a work day. It was a day of absence. Those who could not attend were asked to stay home as a show of solidarity with the Million Man March. Black men were encouraged to atone with God and with each other, to reconcile their differences with family and others, and to take responsibility for themselves and their communities so that they would no longer depend on others to do what they could do for themselves. The Million Man March was arguably the biggest and most peaceful event to have ever occurred in America. How was this miracle, as described by many, possible? What caused this glimpse of heaven to manifest itself to America and to the world? Why would God use the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as the vessel for this awe-inspiring event? We know that the spirit of atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility was the order of the day. But was there a deeper meaning behind why the Million Man March was called? Many stories have been told by many people about the Million Man March. Is there an untold story? If so, what is it?
Well, the root of everything that Allah has blessed us to do since the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes directly back to him. Such a wise and great teacher had the ability to plant seeds in the mind of those of us who were his students. And I, in particular, he planted seeds that he knew I didn't understand at the time. But at some time in the future, those seeds would germinate into actions that would lead to consequences, both good and bad.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad produced many great students, including Minister Farrakhan, Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali. During the Civil Rights era, the Nation of Islam, led by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was the counterpoint to the integrationist movement epitomized by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was introduced to the world when he participated in the August 28, 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered his "I Have a Dream" speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. The Nation of Islam did not participate in the 1963 March on Washington, but that march did serve as part of a seed for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to plant into the mind of one of his greatest students, Minister Louis Farrakhan.
We were talking about the March on Washington that Dr. King was a part of. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was being critical, not of our reason for marching, but the spirit of like it's a party, or we're having fun, or instead of the serious demeanor that should accompany such a noble thing as a march for jobs and justice. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, one day I'm going to lead a march, brother. And he said, we won't leave Washington until we get what we go for, and that is justice. And it went in. And
even though the seed of the Million Man March was now planted in the mind of Minister Farrakhan, it would take many more years before that seed would germinate. Jobs and justice were the goals of the 1963 March on Washington. Worthy goals indeed. However, the methodology used by Dr. King and others was altogether different than what was being espoused by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, and Minister Farrakhan. While it appeared that certain gains were being made via the civil rights movement, there were also a number of covert and overt attacks on the black community taking place. After President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in November 1963, on July 2, 1964, President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act into law. After Malcolm X was assassinated on February 21, 1965, Congress passed the Voting Rights Act in August 1965. In 1966, we saw the rise of SNCC with Stokely Carmichael and the Black Panther Party with Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. After Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated on April 4, 1968, the Fair Housing Act was signed into law April 11, 1968. So while black people were making political and social gains on one hand, our leaders and movements were at the same time being attacked, killed, and destroyed. Then, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad departed in February 1975, and the Nation of Islam fell. After what appeared to be its total destruction, in September 1977, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stood back up to rebuild the works of the Nation of Islam and to raise the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. As he worked, the attacks that had been suffered in the past developed into an all-out war on the black community in general and on black youth in particular. On November 4, 1980, Ronald Reagan was elected President of the United States with George H.W. Bush as his Vice President.
I never realized at that time how deep the war was on the black community. But under Reagan, Bush, they were fighting against the Contras in Nicaragua. Against the Sandinistas in Nicaragua. Because this is a socialist rising now in Central America. We already had Castro in Cuba, so America needed money to fight that war, and Congress wouldn't give money for that adventure. So Saudi Arabia, I believe Prince Bandar, the ambassador from Saudi to America, agreed, and they got $32 million to start the fight against the rise of the Sandinistas. And it is then that drugs, a very dangerous drug, a chemical concoction, was made from cocaine and enter Freeway Rick Ross from California. He was an unwitting co-conspirator in the so-called war against drugs. But it wasn't a war against drugs. It was using drugs in a war that would incarcerate tens of thousands of black youth. So the war was really on us. And so the Million Man March was our response to this. When Freeway Rick only wanted to make $1, he wasn't knowledgeable that he was a part of a conspiracy. Once he brought the drugs in and got paid, he was satisfied. It was good money. But the drugs were sent into the black community. Out of the black community was coming dollars for America to wage war against the rise of socialist governments in Central and South America. But now gangs were coming up, the Bloods, the Crips. They don't know that they are unwitting partners in a game of black youth self-destruction. Public Enemy is a rap group that started educating with rap. But it was a conspiracy, since they were making money, not compromising who they were. The powerful music moguls were saying, we've got to buy in to rap. But they wanted to change rap into something that would, number one, fill prisons. Prison became big business. There was a meeting I read in outside of Los Angeles where record executives were invited to this meeting, but in the meeting were those who were buying prisons. And the talk was that gangster rap, they had to change from edutainment to gangster rap, what glorified the degenerate lifestyle among our people.
As crack cocaine was being funneled into the black community in the early 80s and gangster rap in the early 90s, another front on the war on black youth was being opened. However, Minister Farrakhan was given divine insight into the plans of the United States government. On September 17th, 1985, Minister Farrakhan had a vision-like experience. He later held a press conference describing this experience.
In a tiny town in Mexico called Tepoztlan, there's a mountain on top of which is the ruins of a temple dedicated to Quetzalcoatl, the Christ figure of Central and South America. A mountain which I've climbed several times. However, on the night of September the 17th, 1985, I was carried up on that mountain in a vision with a few friends of mine. As we reached the top of the mountain, a wheel, or what you call an unidentified flying object, appeared at the side of the mountain, and I was called from the wheel to come up into the wheel. 3 metal legs appeared from the wheel, giving me the impression that it was going to land, but it never came over the mountain. Being somewhat afraid, I called to the members of my party to come with me, but a voice from the wheel spoke, saying, "Not them, just you." I was told to relax, and a beam of light came from the wheel, and I was carried up on this beam of light into the wheel. I sat next to the pilot. However, I could not see him. I could only feel his presence. As the wheel lifted off from the side of the mountain, moving at a terrific speed, I knew I was being transported to the mother wheel, or the mother plane, which is a human-built planet a half a mile by a half a mile, which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us of for over 60 years. The pilot, knowing that I was fearful of seeing this great mechanical object in the sky, maneuvered his craft in such a way that I would not see the mother plane, and then backed quickly into it and docked in a tunnel. I was escorted by the pilot to a door and admitted into a room. I shall not bother you with a description of the room, but suffice it to say that at the center of the ceiling was a speaker, and through this speaker, I heard the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaking to me as clearly as you hear my voice this morning. He spoke in short, cryptic sentences, and as he spoke, a scroll full of cursive writing rolled down in front of my eyes, but it was a projection of what was being written in my mind. As I attempted to read the cursive writing, which was in English, the scroll disappeared, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad began to speak to me again. He said, and I quote, "President Reagan has met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan a war. I want you to hold a press conference in Washington, D.C., and announce their plan and say to the world that you got the information from me on the wheel," end quote. He said to me that he would not permit me to see him at that time, but he said that I had one more thing to do, and when that one more thing was done, I could come again to the wheel, and I would be permitted to see him face to face. I am here to announce today that President Bush has met with his Joint Chiefs of Staff under the direction of General Colin Powell to plan a war against the black people of America, the Nation of Islam, and Louis Farrakhan, with particular emphasis on our black youth, under the guise of a war against drug sellers, drug users, gangs, and violence. Then, of course, with my experience on the wheel, and I understood that the war that Reagan and his Joint Chiefs of Staff had planned against Libya also had a bearing on another small Muslim nation and on black people in general. So the war had started. And what most black people do not realize as we are sitting at this interview, that the government has been at war with the black community since the Reagan-Bush years in the White House.
The war on black youth by the government of the United States then expanded to include Hollywood. A picture was painted of out-of-control black youth through feature-length films. On April 15, 1988, Colors featuring Ice-T was released. On March 8, 1991, New Jack City, also featuring Ice-T, was released. On June 12, 1991, Boys in the Hood featuring Ice Cube was released. On January 17, 1992, Juice featuring Tupac Shakur was released. On April 17, 1992, Deep Cover featuring music by Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg was released. On September 18, 1992, South Central was released. And on May 26, 1993, Menace to Society was released. A year after Colors was released, the Nation of Islam held a Savior's Day convention in Washington, D.C. on October 23, 1989, commemorating the birth of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The subject was Stop the Killing. One day after the convention, on October 24th, Minister Farrakhan held the press conference that described his vision-like experience and announced the government's war on the Nation of Islam, black people in general, and black youth in particular. After David Dinkins was elected mayor of New York City on November 7, 1989, Minister Farrakhan extended the theme of Stop the Killing into a nationwide tour on January of 1990.
And so I started a tour on stopping the killing because we saw that they were featuring young black men in particular in films such as Colors, such as Menace to Society, New Jack City, all of these pictures which went throughout the world but depicting young black men as savage, as vicious, as really berserk, insane, little beasts. And so I thought that they were setting the stage so that when the attack on black people came, there would be no outcry from the world because we were looked at then as the Achilles heel of America, that this great nation had this weak thing inside it that they had no more jobs for. They had no real future here. So how do you get rid of a problem? And so we went on this tour, Stop the Killing. And I remember in New York City, we came to the Jacob Javits Center, and there was an election planned. David Dinkins was the mayor, and he was coming up for re-election if he would make a second term. And black leaders, when they knew we were coming, we were going to go to Yankee Stadium to try and fill it. The black leaders in New York came to me and through, I can't remember who it was, but they did prevail on me, please, not to come because Dinkins wants to be re-elected and we feel that your presence would not be helpful to his having a second term. I said, well, I mean, if we filled Yankee Stadium, we could have Mr. Dinkins have a spokesperson there and encourage those persons to go to the polls and vote for him. That didn't fly with them. So I told them, okay. They said, if you don't come, when you do come, all of us will be in support of you. So I backed away from Yankee Stadium. went on the Stop the Killing tour. So when I did come to New York, we were at the Jacob Javits Center, and of course thousands of persons came out, and the only leader that showed up in fulfillment of the promise that was made to me was the Reverend Al Sharpton. And during my talk that day, I asked the question, if I would come back and gather men to speak to an all men's meeting, would you all come? And they cheered and said yes. And that's when going around the country again, just talking to black men started. I was advised not to do it by very strong people, but they said, you know, Farrakhan, if you go talking to all men, they will think you're trying to raise an army. And I weighed their request, and I said, well, I'm going to talk to black men. So I came to New York.
The Stop the Killing Tour event at the Jacob Javits Center on December 18, 1993 in New York City would prove to be the last stop of that particular tour. But with Minister Farrakhan's announcement of a meeting for men only, the Stop the Killing Tour would then evolve into the Let Us Make Man Tour, with its first stop at the 369th Armory in Harlem, New York on January 24, 1994.
And that night, the armory was filled to capacity. And women were coming, bringing their sons and telling them, you go in there and hear Farrakhan. And that night, when I spoke, I said, I want to take 1 million black men to Washington, D.C. And I think I may have used the term with 1 million man march or something like that. And when the word went out of my mouth, I watched it go out. And I didn't really believe that we could get 1 million men, but I had to go catch the word. The first thing I did, I wrote a letter to Imam Warizuddin Muhammad, and I wrote a letter to the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. And I asked both of them if they would join me, Imam Muhammad as a Muslim leader and Reverend Jackson as a Christian leader. I didn't hear from the Imam, and nor did I hear from Reverend Jackson.
Although he didn't hear from Imam Muhammad or from Reverend Jackson, Minister Farrakhan continued to repeat his call for 1 million black men to march on Washington, D.C. No one had ever thought of, or much less spoken of, a desire to bring 1 million black men to Washington, D.C. before the minister made the call. So, if Minister Farrakhan, the man who spoke those words, didn't really believe at that time that he could get 1 million black men, what did those who heard him speak the words Million Man March think about it?
Honorable Farrakhan was in New York City when he made the announcement. And I was just as stunned as everybody else when he said 1 million men. I just looked at it and said, wow. But I'm the type of person like this. Whatever the minister said he wanted, I go to work to make it happen. And I went with him all over this country.
As much as I love the minister, my first reaction was, yeah, right. 1 million men at one place. It never had happened before in history. And I just thought that was a very steep mountain to climb.
I was skeptical about it. I didn't think it would amount to much. And I remember wondering, and beginning to hear about some of the controversy because of Minister Farrakhan's involvement with it. A lot of people think he's anti-Semitic. They feel badly about the things he says, and frankly, I wasn't sure about it myself. So I said, well, you know, I don't know if this is going to be anything. It's controversial. What is this? That was my initial impression.
My initial reaction was pleasure, but I completely failed initially to comprehend the magnitude of what Minister Farrakhan was saying when he announced the Million Man March. Because of my deep-seated belief that he is divinely guided, there's no announcement he could make that I would react to as being beyond his capacity. And so when he said, I want 1 million men to meet me in Washington, D.C., my initial reaction was that it will happen. And that was essentially it.
But when I first heard about it, it sounded like something I wanted to be a part of because I knew it was going to be historical.
My whole intentions, ever since I heard about it, was like it was necessary for us to be there to show that the solidarity amongst black men.
Now that the word was out that a Million Man March was being planned, the Let Us Make Man tour began to take shape. After 14,000 men showed up in Harlem, the tour's next stop was the Strand Theater in Boston, Massachusetts, on March 10th, 1994. Then on March 21st, 1994, over 14,000 brothers showed up for a men's-only meeting at the Armory in Washington, D.C. On April 11th, 1994, 35,000 black men came out in Houston, Texas. And on April 25th, 1994, 10,000 men attended in Dallas, Texas. On the grassroots level, it was obvious that the Let Us Make Man tour in preparation for the Million Man March was proving to be a rousing success. However, not everyone was happy about Minister Farrakhan's call for a Million Man March.
I mean, men were really showing up. But then we started getting a lot of flack from some of those who organized marches in the past. And some of the pastors said, what does Farrakhan know about marches? You know, he said, we are the marchers. We could show him something about marching. And he said he's all backwards because we were marching on a Monday. And he said, nobody holds a march on Monday. We always hold it on Saturday. But I wasn't looking for a weekend crowd. We were looking for a group that was willing to make a sacrifice of a day's work, a day at school, to show God that we wanted to atone for being not so good fathers, not so good husbands, not so good brothers, and we wanted God's forgiveness.
The themes of sacrifice and atonement resonated within black men. The Let Us Make Man tour continued in May of 1994, with stops in New Orleans, Louisiana, and Atlanta, Georgia, which drew a crowd of 19,000. However, there seemed to be an issue that was beginning to develop: the role of the black woman relative to the Million Man March.
Some of the activist women thought that this was a slight against females, but really the mother of the march was Dorothy Height. And Dorothy Height, I learned, went to the hospital because one of the great civil rights leaders beat her up, not physically, but with words as to why she was supporting Louis Farrakhan. And she got sick over it, but she never wavered. She stood strong.
Well, actually, I had a different feeling from many women. I was there. I took an active part. And on that day, I said to the Million Men, I'm here because you're here. because as I traveled across the country, everywhere I went, men were saying to me they were coming to the march. And I felt if the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had called them and they were coming, that I wanted to be there.
But this was to honor black women. This was to say, we put you in the front line when they had dogs on us in the South. We put you on the front line to take the fire hose in the face. It was little black girls who were blown to smithereens and decapitated while they were in Sunday school. And so today, we're going to stand up and be a man and take the role as protector and provider. Dorothy Height, Dr. Dorothy Height, absolutely blew me away because I knew of her vaguely because of history, and I had never met her in person prior to that time, and I was blessed to meet her. Dorothy Height, to me, confirmed who Minister Farrakhan is to us today.
On June 25th, 1994, during the Let Us Make Man tour, Minister Farrakhan held a women's-only meeting in Atlanta, Georgia, entitled, "A Nation Can Rise No Higher Than Its Woman." Given the fact that 15,000 women showed up for that event, it was clear that black women were firmly in support of black men and the Million Man March. The Let Us Make Man tour then continued with stops all across the country. By May 25, 1995, the tour ended with a total of 14 stops, with its last one in Chicago, Illinois. The foundation of the Million Man March was now established by the Let Us Make Man tour. However, the organizational structure for the Million Man March had yet to be set up. In June 1995, Reverend Ben Chavis, who was no longer with the NAACP, was named the National Director of the Million Man March. Reverend Chavis took on the task of developing the National Organizing Committee and the local organizing committees all across the country.
We had a meeting in Chicago at Reverend Clay Evans' church, and we had pretty much every denomination on board in the country at that time. And of course, many of them had not gotten permission from their parent bodies to say they were on board, but had personally committed to be on board.
Let's start with the Reverend Dr. Ben Chavis at the time. He was like the assistant in bringing the march together with Reverend Willie Wilson, Reverend Albert Sampson of Chicago, the great Reverend Bishop Stallings. Oh my goodness. It was a coming together. In every city, we had local organizing committees. Reverend Ben Chavis was magnificent. Reverend Willie Wilson, Sister Claudette Marie Muhammad, all of the staff of the Nation of Islam, ministers and helpers, they were all a part of these local organizing committees. Maulana Karenga, he, along with Hakeem Madabuti, Dr. Conrad Worrell, Reverend Al Sampson, and others, we met in Chicago.
Called at sunrise, and nearly 500,000 men were already on the National Mall. Minister Farrakhan received 2 guests in his hotel suite, the Reverend Jesse Jackson and H.H. Brookins of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, both of whom marched with Dr. King.
Reverend Jackson came to the suite. Bishop Brookins of the AME Church came to the suite. And Reverend Jackson asked how much time he was going to get in delivering what he wanted to deliver. And I said, Reverend, I can't put a time on you. you go and say what is in your heart to say, and when you're finished, you're finished. I don't know nobody that organized something that would say something like that. But that's the kind of love and respect that I have for Reverend Jackson. And Bishop Brookins asked me, he said, Minister, are you going to use this march to proselytize your faith? I said, no. I said, I am going to ask those men to join an organization that is fighting for.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Because of technical difficulties, we have to restart the documentary, and we will start right where we left off. We apologize for the inconvenience. We will resume very, very shortly.
That the Let Us Make Man tour in preparation for the Million Man March was proving to be a rousing success. However, not everyone was happy about Minister Farrakhan's call for a Million Man March.
I mean, men were really showing up. But then we started getting a lot of flack from some of those who organized marches in the past. And some of the pastors said, what does Farrakhan know about marches? He said, we are the marchers. We could show him something about marching. And they said he's all backwards because we were marching on a Monday. And he said, nobody holds a march on Monday. We always hold it on Saturday. But I wasn't looking for a weekend crowd. We were looking for a a group that was willing to make a sacrifice of a day's work, a day at school, to show God that we wanted to atone for being not so good fathers, not so good husbands, not so good brothers, and we wanted God's forgiveness.
The themes of sacrifice and atonement resonated within black men. The Let Us Make Man tour continued in May of 1994, with stops in New Orleans, Louisiana, and Atlanta, Georgia, which drew a crowd of 19,000. However, there seemed to be an issue that was beginning to develop: the role of the black woman relative to the Million Man March.
Some of the activist women thought that this was a slight against females, but really the mother of the march was Dorothy Height. And Dorothy Height, I learned, went to the hospital because one of the great civil rights leaders beat her up, not physically, but with words as to why she was supporting Louis Farrakhan. And she got sick over it, but she never wavered. She stood strong.
Well, actually, I had a different feeling from many women. I was there. I took an active part. And on that day, I said to the Million Men, I'm here because you are here. Because as I traveled across the country, everywhere I went, men were saying to me they were coming to the march. And I felt if the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had called them and they were coming, that I wanted to be there.
But this was to honor black women. This was to say, we put you in the front line when they had dogs on us in the South. We put you on the front line to take the fire hose in the face. It was little black girls who were blown to smithereens and decapitated while they were in Sunday school. And so today we're going to stand up and be a man and take the role as protector and provider. Dorothy Height, Dr. Dorothy Height, absolutely blew me away because I knew of her vaguely because of history, and I had never met her in person prior to that time, and I was blessed to meet her. Dorothy Height, to me, confirmed who Minister Farrakhan is to us today.
On June 25th, 1994, during the Let Us Make Man tour, Minister Farrakhan held a women's-only meeting in Atlanta, Georgia, entitled, "A Nation Can Rise No Higher Than Its Woman." Given the fact that 15,000 women showed up for that event, it was clear that black women were firmly in support of black men and the Million Man March. The Let Us Make Man tour then continued with stops all across the country. By May 25, 1995, the tour ended with a total of 14 stops, with its last one in Chicago, Illinois. The foundation of the Million Man March was now established by the Let Us Make Man tour. However, the organizational structure for the Million Man March had yet to be set up. In June 1995, Reverend Ben Chavis, who was no longer with the NAACP, was named the National Director of the Million Man March. Reverend Chavis took on the task of developing the National Organizing Committee and the local organizing committees all across the country.
We had a meeting in Chicago at Reverend Clay Evans' church, and we had pretty much every denomination on board in the country at that time. And of course, many of them had not gotten permission from their parent bodies to say they were on board, but had personally committed to be on board.
Let's start with the Reverend Dr. Ben Chavis at the time. He was like the assistant in bringing the march together with Reverend Willie Wilson, Reverend Albert Sampson of Chicago, the great Reverend Bishop Stallings. Oh my goodness. It was a coming together. In every city, we had local organizing committees. Reverend Ben Chavis was magnificent. Reverend Willie Wilson, Sister Claudette Marie Muhammad, all of the staff of the Nation of Islam, ministers and helpers, they were all a part of these local organizing committees. Maulana Karenga, he, along with Hakeem Madabuti, Dr. Conrad Worrell, Reverend Al Sampson, and others, we met in Chicago, and Dr. Karenga went back and authored a piece that was like what's the right word I'm looking for? The guiding principles, not only for the Million Man March, but beyond.
With the national and local organizing committees in place, more and more men and women were able to contribute in whatever ways they could to the success of the march. As the work was getting done in the field, spiritual leaders from all types of faiths and schools of thought began to come together to contribute to the principles of atonement, responsibility, and reconciliation. The culmination of this spiritual unity was manifested on September 19th, 1995, on the campus of Howard University at Rankin Chapel.
And as Elijah Muhammad said to us, we don't need to go to the government to ask them to declare a holiday for somebody that we love. We declare it and we do it. So we declared Monday, October 16th, as the Day of Atonement, and we made it a national holiday. And we had reverence of every stripe. Now, see, this is a Muslim, Christian, nationalist, Hebrew Israelite. All of us were involved in something that was bigger than all of us. So right here at Howard, at is it Rankin Chapel, we had a beautiful showing of all these religious leaders, and we declared October 16th a national holiday. We weren't going to school, we weren't going to work, we weren't even going to shop in white stores. We were going to keep our money on that day. And in fact, I'm getting excited now, but I was the last one, if the truth be told, to know what was really happening in the field, because I was preaching everywhere I could go, but the field work was going on, and it was Muslims, Christians, nationalists, brothers, sisters, sororities, fraternities, everybody that wanted to see it successful went to work.
One of the fraternities that wanted to see the Million Man March successful was Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. They opened the doors to their international headquarters in Washington, D.C., allowing their facility to become the national headquarters for the Million Man March. As the base of operations for the march shifted from Chicago, Illinois to Washington, D.C., Mayor Marion Barry announced that he and his administration were in full support of the event. With the march shaping up to be the largest event in the history of Washington, D.C., many different levels of cooperation had to take place between the march leadership, Washington, D.C. government, and the federal government.
I said to the minister, anything that's at my disposal is at your disposal. Whether it's personnel, whether it's staff, whether it's logistical people, whether it's buses, whether it's trucks to clean up after ourselves. Anything that's there is yours, and not just yours, but to the African American community. Well, it was hard work atmosphere. We got to get it done atmosphere. There was no joking. You know, people may crack a joke now and then, that's natural. But it was all serious business. We took this as an order from God that we had and we must participate in this, give it all we got.
We had to come in and meet with every law enforcement agency in America. That was unbelievable. That's the untold story. Because I still don't understand, why did we have to meet with the Army, the Navy? What did they have to do with this? But I had to meet with every FBI, CIA, you name it, and we met with them. We met at the mayor's office in the conference room, and I'm talking about the place was packed with all kind of law enforcement officers, man. This was a huge undertaking. But the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, with his faith, I drew from his faith, and we made it happen by the grace of God.
It was clear in the weeks and days before the Million Man March that the efforts of those that wanted to see it successful were overcoming the efforts of those that wanted to see the march fail. Some who were originally against the march became supporters. The media, due to the huge groundwell of support, was forced to cover the march as it was about to unfold. The federal government in Washington, D.C. announced that it would be closed on Monday, October 16th, and the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, decided to leave town. Congress also closed down for that day. Now that the Million Man March was becoming a reality, what effect was it having on both the supporters of the march and its critics?
I'm not going to fault the Johnny-come-latelys who came or speak negatively of them. It's only a sign that if the grassroots, which is the base of the success of the Million Man March and many of the leaders that we talked about, but the common people, then all the rest of the naysayers, when they saw something that they had never ever seen before and couldn't even envision it, they all wanted to be on the program. Who wouldn't want to talk to 1 million, 2 million black men? But putting the program together was a major undertaking, because now at the last minute, Congress that was closed down that day, many members of the Black Caucus showed up. They wanted to talk. Although in the beginning, Reverend Jackson was not on board, later, near the end of the process, Reverend Jackson did come in Chicago on board.
The Million Man March, October 16th, 1995. The holy day declared by the grassroots of black people in America had finally arrived. After all of the planning, the preaching, the traveling, the groundwork, and the meetings, how would the day unfold?
By divine order of God, I went into the CVS, which was around the corner. I don't know DC too well, out of being there hundreds and hundreds of times, because it's a circular city. I used to always get lost. I went into CVS to get something, I think some water or whatever, and online was my father. And I didn't talk to him earlier on the day. I knew he was going to be there, but he was coming up from Atlanta. I was coming from New York, and I was like, well. And then we happened to run into each other in the CVS.
I just remember being out there and just in awe of the whole experience, just being around that many men, the knowing everything that led up to that prior to the excitement around it, and then to actually have it there, be in the midst of it. It was just overwhelming. I was in awe. That's how I would describe it.
My experience was that of a change within myself. We was more given in I would say a focus on ourselves and how to love each other. More men, brotherhood, striving as one cause. we were able to see that day at the mall a display of love and unity. There was nobody at that time that you ran across or that you may have bumped into that particular day that didn't say, "Excuse me, brother," "Oh, pardon me, sir." It was all demonstrating politeness one to another. So at that same day, I was able to learn that the black man can get along. The black man does love each other, but the black man needs a guide and a leader to get us to that point.
I didn't know that 1 million men would show up. But I was in the hotel, and some of the brothers that went out came back and said, "Minister, there's over 150,000 men on the mall already, and it's like near midnight the night before." I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yes." So now the next morning, the sun is rising, and the great Sheikh Tajani is making the call to prayer, and they're telling me now it's over 500,000 out there. Wow. Now the minister is just blown completely away.
By the time the sun rose, a sea of men rose. And by the time it was midday, that tide of men crashed on the steps of the nation's capital. It was a sea of men. They rose like a tide. They came to the shore.
On the morning of the Million Man March, after prayer was called at sunrise, and nearly 1.5 million men were already on the National Mall, Minister Farrakhan received 2 guests in his hotel suite, the Reverend Jesse Jackson and H.H. Brookins of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, both of whom marched with Dr. King.
Reverend Jackson came to the suite. Bishop Brookins of the AME Church came to the suite. And Reverend Jackson asked how much time he was going to get in delivering what he wanted to deliver. And I said, "Reverend, I can't put a time on you. You go and say what is in your heart to say, and when you're finished, you're finished." I don't know nobody that organized something that would say something like that. But that's the kind of love and respect that I have for Reverend Jackson. And Bishop Brookins asked me, he said, "Minister, are you going to use this march to proselytize your faith?" I said, "No." I said, "I am going to ask those men to join an organization that is fighting for the liberation of our people, and to join a church, a mosque, a synagogue, where spiritual values are being taught." He said, "You would do that, Farrakhan?" I said, "Yes."
After meetings in his hotel room on the morning of the Million Man March ended, Minister Farrakhan then moved from the hotel suite to a green room that was set up for him in the United States Capitol building. Meanwhile, the program for the march was unfolding on the west front grounds of the Capitol. There were 4 sessions held from the early morning to the late afternoon. Muslim ministers, Christian pastors, African drummers, government employees, union workers, university professors, African nationals, congresspersons, and city mayors all participated. Some of the most notable presentations were by women, including Cora Masters Berry, Dr. Betty Shabazz, Mother Tynetta Muhammad, Attorney E. Faye Williams, Rosa Parks, and Dr. Dorsey Hyde.
So if you look at the March on Washington in 1963, to the best of my knowledge, the only woman that was on the program was Mahalia Jackson. Other than that, I don't think women were on the program. The opposite was true with the Million Man March, because Betty Shabazz was there, Maya Angelou was there, the mother of the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, was there. Brother Malcolm's daughter was with the mother, she was there. And women were behind the scenes helping to organize it. Cora Masters Barry, the mayor of Washington, and his wife, there wouldn't have been a march without them. And then the Reverend Willie Wilson and Reverend Mary Wilson and all the members of his church. And there were women all over the country that were intrigued that men wanted to atone for being less than what we should be.
The Million Man March program then began moving towards its conclusion. Other great dignitaries spoke, including Martin Luther King III, Reverend Jeremiah Wright, Reverend James Luther Bebel, Dr. Cornel West, Reverend Joseph Lowry, and Reverend Jesse Jackson. But it was clear that the men on the mall were ready to hear from the man of the hour, Minister Farrakhan.
I stayed up in a room. I let everybody who wanted to speak, speak. I never interfered. The people were down there chanting, Farrakhan, Farrakhan. Farrakhan stayed up in the Capitol building, listening, looking. And when finally it came time for me to speak, it was almost maybe a few hours before sunset. And to be very honest, I'm telling you the absolute truth. As I walked down those stairs, my son Mustafa introduced me. It was like, I felt like a leaf that was under some wind, and I was just floating down, not fully conscious of the dynamics of this magnificent thing that was in front of me. I mean, it was an amazing show of unity. And I guess it tells us in a simple way that the thing that's holding us back is us. Our pettiness, our divisions. But we have to have a cause bigger than our foolishness that will allow us to stop looking at each other and start looking at the success of a vision and a cause bigger than ourselves. And that is what the Million Man March accomplished.
As the Million Man March came to a close, the 2 million men that showed up on October 16th went peacefully on their way back to their respective communities. If the Million Man March was our response to the war on black youth, then those that fought against the march were certainly dealt a serious blow. But it didn't take long before criticism, distortions, and lies started to surface from the United States government and the media. The National Park Service estimated the crowd to be 400,000, while it was clear that the crowd easily exceeded 1 million and possibly surpassed 2 million. Some took issue that the fact that a Muslim called for the march and many Christians responded. Some felt that the march could have been organized better.
Barack Obama was among the 2 million. And Barack later wrote, it was great, but it could have been organized better. He's not wrong, but he wasn't in the mix. If Barack had come out of the shadows when he knew the Million Man March was going to take place, he was already an organizer. I never saw Brother. If he had come and said, Brother, can I help organize? Of course he could. We would have been stronger. My point is, even though we were successful, the greatest success would have been the day after the march, not all the great work that we did before the march.
The media tried to separate the message from the messenger, trying to convince the public that black men came to the Million Man March for the principles only, and not also for the one through whom the march was called. Because the Million Man March was not sponsored by businesses or philanthropists, many accused the Nation of Islam for raising money for itself from the men on the National Mall on that day. One of the favorite refrains of critics of the march is, what happened to the money? Bishop H.H. Brookins of the AME Church was a speaker at the march, but when he had visited Minister Farrakhan at his hotel suite that morning, he too had concerns about how money raised for and from the Million Man March would be used.
People raised questions in the aftermath of the march. What happened to the money? Well, there was no the money. You know, first of all, we did not sell tickets to this event. It was an open invitation to all black men, and that had to be paid for. We had to have porta-johns. We had the jumbotrons so that everyone could see and hear. The city was essentially shut down. Washington, D.C., U.S. Capitol, was shut down.
Then he asked, and what about the money? You know, where's the money gonna go? I said, we've engaged 3 CPA firms, and we're going to give our people an audit of every nickel, every dime, and every dollar. Now, I know this had never been done before. Nobody gave an audit at any march that came on that mall, and people that, philanthropists that put up their money, you know, whatever. They had the money to give away, and black folk had the money to spend, but nobody gave an audit. But the money didn't come from philanthropists. The largest donation came from Michael Jackson, and he donated $100,000. And next to Michael, in advertising, was Mr. Bob Johnson of BET. And everybody, the nation raised over $500,000 for the march. The minister gave well over $100,000 from the charity that the believers give to me, much more than $100,000. I probably gave $250,000. And I'm not saying that for credit, because the record will show I never got a dime. I want you to, this is the untold story.
Yes, sir.
I, Louis Farrakhan, that called the march, never got as much as a dime or as little as a penny.
The audit conducted on the Million Man March showed that there was a net loss of over $60,000, with no monies unaccounted for. After the Million Man March was over, the media proceeded to do its spin on it. As a result, Minister Farrakhan thought very deeply about his next move. What could possibly be done after the success of the Million Man March? And what could be done to further the fight to save young black men?
after the Million Man March was over, I felt a sense of emptiness, loss, because I couldn't figure now, what is the next step? What should we do? And I went out to Phoenix at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's home in Phoenix, and I meditated and prayed. And this is what came to me. After the Million Man March that was seen all over the world, I said the enemy would want to go east to show them that we are not true Muslims because of this controversial aspect of our teachings. So it dawned on me that I should go east and tie the nation to the Islamic world and tie Black America to the struggle of Africa. And so that is the precipitant of our trip and our World Friendship Tour. So now I'm in Muslim capitals and I'm preaching. No way in heaven or hell after they heard me that they wouldn't say he's a real Muslim. In fact, I think we were in Egypt. I think it may have been Egypt. And I was questioned about Master Farad Muhammad.
I'm going to quote your own website here. There's a passage that says, we believe
that Allah, parentheses God, appeared in the person of Master W. Fard Muhammad, July 1930, the long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. Now, I think that would be controversial among the mainstream Muslims. Could you understand or clarify these statements that God appeared in the person of Fard in Detroit?
With all due respect to you from the Washington Times, you are certainly no authority on what would create confusion among mainstream Muslims. And of course, I understand your motive for raising such question, but I will answer you very succinctly in a way that I believe all Muslims would understand. First of all, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, said to all of us in his hadith that the Mahdi would come out of his family, and the whole Muslim world is expecting Mahdi, number one. The Muslim world also is expecting the return of Jesus coming with Mahdi. The third point is the Shiite Muslims are looking for the hidden Imam or the 12th Imam, which is called Imam Mahdi. And they thought that Ayatollah Khomeini was that Imam, but from his own lips, he said he was not Mahdi. Now, why does the Muslim Ummah need a Mahdi? The Mahdi is a guide. And you don't need a guide if you have not lost your way. And no one can deny that the Islamic world has lost the path of Allah that they were guided to from the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He said 3 generations after him would no longer be of him, which meant that he knew that his ummah would go astray, and therefore the Mahdi was prophesied to come. We believe that the Mahdi has come, and that he came in the person of W. Farad Muhammad. And why do we say Allah? Because if you look at the attributes of Allah, starting with mercy, beneficence, starting with Malik, a judge, or Rabbil Alameen, one who nurtures something from one stage and makes it attain stage after stage until it reaches perfection. He's Wali, the protecting friend. He's Jabbar. He's all of this. Well, you tell me, who visited us since I came up in America that most of you are afraid of? But I have no fear of that is the power in the world. Who protects me? You don't, they don't. But I come and go as I please because Allah is with me. He came to us. His beneficence and his mercy raised me. I never was taught in Al-Azhar, nor in any school of theology in the Islamic world. But if you listen to me, you will know that I have been taught by a master, because no master over here has defeated and can defeat what I have been taught of a master. I am here to awaken a world that has gone to sleep. If you listen to me and hear what I say, you will awaken to your responsibility and come back to Allah. Thank you for your question. I know you didn't intend it for good, but God brought good out of it anyway.
And the answer that we gave, the Muslims were just happy and shocked and grateful that Allah had raised up a brother in America that was so strong in defending Islam against the disbelievers. In the Sudan, everywhere we went, we were wildly cheered and greatly accepted from the top all the way down, even in the holy city of Mecca in Arabia. So it was a great time for us. And of course, the media here said he squandered all the good that he had gained from the Million Man March, going overseas, grubbing for money. To hell with you and your money. I have God. We weren't grubbing for no money. We were connecting the nation of Islam with the entire Muslim world, and Black America's struggle with the struggle of Pan-Africanists all over our planet. And we were successful.
The success of the Million Man March and the World Friendship Tours were felt all throughout America and the world. The march effectively beat back the negative images of Black youth and presented a positive and sober-minded view of our young people in 1995. However, over the years, it appeared that the condition of Black people, especially young men, had worsened more than it was before the Million Man March. What happened?
We are in a worse condition because we are at war, but we don't know that we're at war. Anytime somebody is working to destroy you and you don't know it, you can become an unwitting partner in your own destruction. Prison became big business. So the drug culture and the gang culture came together to begin destroying our youth. Our young girls then being turned into prostitutes when the young ones who were the drug runners and others found that, man, we're going to jail for this, then they started using women as prostitutes. So all throughout the country, there's the degeneration of the Black man into a total savage, and the Black woman as a street urchin. And some of our Black men are doing highly skilled labor in prison for some of the top corporations in America. This is part of the war on young Black men and now women. And we are party to the war and don't know that we're at war. So the minister the minister, the follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is on top of the mountain sounding the alarm as a watchman, because the rest of the watchmen are asleep on the job. Ain't nobody warning our people of the wicked intentions of the government of the United States on them. That's why the nation has to survive. And that's why the truth has to be told. But how can they know the truth except somebody strong enough to tell it?
Minister Farrakhan was and is that somebody strong enough to tell the truth about the war against our black youth. The Million Man March was our response to this war. The Million Man March, the untold story, is a story that remains untold by the mainstream media, the revisionists, and those who are hateful that a Muslim would call a march attended mostly by Christians. We must give credit where credit is due. To God belongs the credit and the glory. But God chose the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to tell the truth. We should understand that there is no separation of the man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, from the message of the Million Man March. The Million Man March, the untold story, is the history that should be told and written correctly.
To try something impossible. And I think that's the legacy to me of the Million Man March, is that everyone can consider, look in the mirror and say, what can I do that I know I can't do? And then try it. Because that's what I think the march represented. When that thing succeeded, it really let you know that anything's possible. You just have to start with belief and faith, but ignore what you see and just bring it into existence.
My heart wasn't in it for money or for fame. I wanted to save the lives of young black men and show the world that we could be at peace with one another, a loving community, a united community that is worthy of life and protection for that life. My goal was reached, not about money, but about raising the level of consciousness of us, that if we can love each other and stand in ranks for 14 hours, shoulder to shoulder, then we can do it for 14 days, for 14 weeks, for 14 months, for 14 years, for eternity. All we had to show them, it can be done. And God blessed us all to do it.
Jalil, representing hip-hop legend Houdini on the Million Man March, was a lifetime event for me, and I'm more than grateful to have been a part of it.
Harold Rod is Funk C, calling from Augusta, Georgia. I just knew I had to be there. I just knew in my heart and in my soul that I had to make my way up to this historical event.
Yes, this is Anthony A. Tones Muhammad. I'm calling about the Million Man March. It really helped me as a brother to understand the importance of being a good husband and a good father.
Hi, my name is Derek. I'm from Dallas, Texas. And the Million Man March was a day for black men to take charge of their lives and their communities by showing respect for themselves.
Hey, my name is Hollis Bernardo, Hollis, from Michigan. You know, I didn't go to the Million Man March, but I wish I had them. I wish I could have, but I didn't. But I support whatever they did.
Hi, this is Tim Jackson from Kentwood, Michigan, calling about the Million Man March. I think that was a very wonderful idea.
The Million Man March was the first time that people heard from the artist Nonchalant. During that time, 5 o'clock was definitely a pivotal record that was speaking directly to what was happening during that time in our lives. So the marketing team and promotions team received 5,000 copies, cassette copies, and went to the Million Man March and passed out 5,000 copies. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, with a million men. But when I run into someone 10 years later and this actually happens, saying, I received your record for the first time at the Million Man March, and it really moved me, an incredible feeling that I can't speak of. That's what the Million Man March means to me. Thanks. This is Nonchalant.
Welcome back to the next phase of the presentation, the panel discussion. One of the masters of ceremony of the 1995 Million Man March, a longtime helper of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He has led mosques in New Orleans, Philadelphia, Baltimore, the southern region of the nation from Atlanta. He's been nearly everywhere for the minister. He has never been shy about calling people to support the efforts of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Please let us welcome my brother with a warm round of applause, Student Minister Jamil Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Brother Anthony, and thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us this evening. Tonight, we're going to have a spirited discussion. We don't need to talk long because we have gotten the information and the inspiration that we're going to need to carry this mission to its next logical steps of conclusion. But tonight, we have a very special panel assembled for your listening, in involvement and education and uplift. But this panel that comes forward for us tonight, I want to introduce them because they are four of the most special people in the world and certainly in Black America. But I want to give them each an introduction. And at the conclusion of introducing the four of them, each one of them will come with a 5-minute opening statement of their impressions of what they just saw in the film and what strikes them. And then we'll move to questions and an exchange among all of us, because it's important that you get a chance to ask your questions in the chat, and that we'll have other questions that arise out of the commentary of these beautiful brothers and sisters. And so now, thanks to those who created and promoted the Million Man March, the untold story. Our sister, Angela R. Muhammad, the filmmaker, her wonderful husband, Brother Anthony K. Muhammad, and the Ministry of Arts and Culture in the Nation of Islam here in the Mid-Atlantic region, our brother Anthony Seven Muhammad, and his wife, Sister Letitia, as well as, of course, our dear brother, the Mid-Atlantic Student Regional Minister of the Nation of Islam, Brother Abdul Qadir Muhammad, whose input and guidance has been vital to this meeting tonight. So if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go too. Pardon me, let's talk about who the folks we have with us are. You ready? Here they go. I want to introduce the ladies first, and these sisters are important. You'll hear from them. And like I say, after we introduce all four of our guests, then we'll hear from each of them in successive order and then begin our round robin discussion. But the first sister I want to present to you tonight, you'll see her image on your screen in just a moment. She is our sister, the actual progenitor and founder of Fly Nubian Queen TV, one of the most progressive and well-known commentators in all of media today. She is a mogul in this business, and she understands how the business works, and she works it for good. A friend of people who are oppressed anywhere and Black people everywhere. My sister, Vicki Dillard, is with us tonight. Sister Vicki's image should come up on the screen in just a few moments, but you'll see Sister Vicki Dillard is with us tonight. That's right. That's right. And you see all the
Salam alaikum, salam family.
There she is. She'll be with you again in just a moment. Look at that big smile. Yes, we got to hear a lot from you tonight, sister. Hold on. We're coming back to you in just a few moments, okay?
Thank you.
And yes, indeed. Also with us tonight is our sister, my sister and my friend. Ever since her youth, she's been a great organizer, whether from the cities like Baltimore or back out to our brothers and sisters in the Native American community, which she is a part. She's always been a powerful voice for truth, freedom, justice, and equality, from the Intifada of Palestine to the fights for freedom, justice, and equality in the streets of Mexico. She is my sister and yours, Sister Yonasda Lonewolf She's with us tonight. Sister Yonasda, let me see your picture there, because I know she's with us tonight too, to have a great, great impact on this meeting. So she's with us tonight. Now, I promised you the best, and I promise you we're going to deliver tonight. All right, everybody, if you're with me tonight on the Zoom, make sure you just put the letter Y in the chat. If you're here and you're ready to deal with how we can get behind the minister and move forward, just put the letter Y in the chat for yes, yes, yes. All right, I see it. Sister Chanel, Brother Andre, Sister Laverne, Sister Cassandra, Sister Kendra, Brother Clinton, Brother Keith, Kwame, Corey, Kente. We all in here tonight. Brother Devontae, I guess Dalvin and JoJo and Casey up in here too. So everybody's here tonight, and we want to make sure that we have everybody on board. Troy and Philate, good to see you, family. But we have a wonderful program for you. You've met the sisters who will be with us in just a moment. Let me introduce you to the brothers who will be with us for this discussion. Each one of our panelists will make a 5-minute opening statement, after which time we'll begin our round-robin discussion. The next brother I want to present to you is a legend. Not just in his own time, because his own time didn't have a beginning and it has no end, but he's known to us as a troubadour, a real powerful speaker of the word of truth in the form of hip hop. From the West Coast hip hop, he's our brother West Coast Cam. You know him from so many different singles and albums and collaborations, and he's always using his voice to lift our people right up to the modern times. You remember him a few months ago checking DJ Vlad with the Culture Vulture piece. He's our brother from the West Coast Cam. You'll see his image come up on your screen right now. There he is. West Coast Cam is with us tonight. Brother, are you there? Are you able to hear us? Looking for West Coast Cam.
Peace.
There he is. We'll hear from our brother in just a moment, and we want to make sure we get back to him and give that good word. In just a moment, he'll be right back with us, all right? West Coast Cam is with us tonight from the West Coast. You're looking well, brother. We'll be right back to you in just a few moments. And a young brother, a brother who's dynamic and powerful and strong and has taken this world by the horns and is making it do the right thing for the right reasons. I'm proud to call him a friend and a brother. He's with us today from his headquarters in Waxahachie, Texas, and he's known all over the world, not just as a brother who brings us a word on how we can gain wealth. There are a lot of jerks who are wealthy in this world or rich with money, but they don't know what to do with the money for the cause of the freedom of our people. But this brother I'm presenting to you right now, he knows what to do with it. He's our brother Dr. Ben X, from Waxahachie, Texas. Brother Ben, are you right there where we can see you?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Well, alaikum salam. There's Brother Ben. And we'll be back to all of our presenters in just a moment for their opening 5-minute statements. But I want you to know that this event has been curated with care, and it has been formed with love and affection for the people who will listen and hear the message tonight. Won't be long, but I guarantee you it'll be strong. And so to begin with our opening 5-minute statements, we're going to ask our sister to come forward at this time. She is, as we said before, the founder of Fly Nubian Queen TV. She's with us tonight in person, our sister, Sister Vicky Dillard. Sister?
Assalamu alaikum and shalom again to the beautiful family. I just want to say that with Fly Nubian Queen, I'm one of the contributors and so pleased to be that, but I'm so grateful that I'm now on multiple platforms and building now my own brand. So I just wanted to say that if you know, like I'm a partner with my own business with them. I wanted to say greetings to the beloved family. My opening statement very quickly about the Million Man March. When we think about the word march and the etymology of the word march, it means to walk, to trample, to mark. We're talking about a vibration that was made in the earth realm, the physical realm, the metaphysical realm by the original man. In the most powerful nation on the planet, at its capital. And so for me, The vibration that our brothers made with their feet was also a match to the prophetic text of Ezekiel 37. There were some dry bones. There were some dead bones. And the Creator said to his prophet, his mouthpiece, because it's written he does nothing in the earth unless he does it through his prophet. Was it Ezekiel or was it Minister Farrakhan? Can these bones live? And Ezekiel said, you know, Lord? He said, you know. So he was given the instruction to prophesy to the bones. Our minister started the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation of a people they declared would be dead and lifeless. But it's written that these dry bones that begin to have now flesh and spirit would become a mighty army. Give thanks that our beloved minister prophesied to the bones. And even the bones coming together has its own vibration of a new reality, a new world, and the most powerful government, the mystery Babylon, the Egypt styled under numerous names in scripture. We are in, beloved, our finest hour. So the Million Man March was prophesied by the elders thousands of years in advance, and we're getting ready to establish a new kingdom based on freedom, justice, and equality, and of this kingdom there shall be no end. That, to me, is what the Million Man March means. Thank you so much.
Oh,
goodness, they had to mute my mic because I was hollering too loud. I was hollering too loud. But I want to say thank you, sister, for setting us off on the right foot. We've got a scriptural perspective, a historic perspective, and a sociological perspective just from the opening 5-minute statement. And she didn't even take her whole 5 minutes, all right? Come on, somebody. This next sister that we want to hear from is my sister. As I said before, Sister Yonasda is a force of nature in her own self. And I know she doesn't like, stop, Brother Jamil, don't say all those things about me, but it's true. You are my sister, an organizer, a leader, an inspiration, an information source, and a font from which the revolutionary spirit of the oppressed to rise up and establish justice flows through you. And so as you are a fighter for freedom, justice, and equality, I'm proud to call you my little sister and always have been. Let's bring her to the microphone, my sister, Yonasda Lonewolf Muhammad. Come on, sis.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
So much. I am so elated to see your face, to see my brother Cam, to see my young brother Ben X. That is just so much. I mean, you're just inspiring me so much, Brother Ben. And to my sister Vicky, you know, I had to go run and grab this book right here, Million Man March. And I had to, hold on, see if you guys can see me. I have this little filter because I don't want y'all to see my back with my little loft area, but there's my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna read, I wanna do my intro with reading my mother's words from this book. For those that don't know, Juanetta Lonewolf, honored with the name Joaquin Luthawin, which means Red Thunder Woman, is a member of the Oglala Lakota Indian Nation and grew up on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. When she was a young girl of 6 years old, she was forcibly removed from her home to attend a Catholic boarding school where she stayed for most of her learning years. During this experience, she became very angry at the government system for allowing her people to be raised by the Black robe and depriving them of their language, culture, and traditions, which removed generations of parenting skills. However, growing up on an Indian reservation was a life with freedom and trust, where a strong foundation of family and community values were instilled in them as children, which proved to be a reward in spite of the oppression and obstacles they endured in in the outside world. After leaving the reservation in 1971 for employment, Yonasda became familiar with the Nation of Islam and later became a member, understanding the significance of the relationship between the Native Americans and the Black people of America. Yonasda works, now this is before she passed, this is 1995. Currently, Yonasda works in a program called Indian Rehabilitation in a residential treatment facility for Native American men, women, and children who are suffering from alcohol and substance abuse. Being very active in the community, she serves on several boards and is a part of the Human Relations Commission and also serves on the advisory council of the Chief of Police. However, her passion is working with the youth. She spends a lot of time with those who particularly have been in and out of prison, active gang members, and participants in violence. And this is my mother's words. When I first heard about the Million Man March, I thought it was an absolute wonderful gesture to see that our men are going to stand up and hopefully start representing the true nature of who they are, which is the protectors of life. The woman has been guided into positions of leadership, not of her own choosing, but because of the absence of the man. And in having to take these roles in the head of the home, as head of organization, as head of nations, and also to continue on keeping the traditions and teaching the life, we have carried the burdens for many, many years. It is wonderful to see that our men of color are going to stand up and say that we will rightfully protect the woman and protect the family and provide for her. We want to be able to build family again, to build community, and to be able to be a very productive part of this society. So I'm really looking forward to it, my mother said. I have been in contact with many of our warriors and told them that whatever way they can, they should make it there and be represented and be a part of it. This is the involvement of the Native Americans' effort in the Million Man March. We need to show this government that no matter what oppression we've gone through, we can still overcome and we can still stand tall and represent our true nature. Can you all see me, hear me still? Oh, okay. My commitment has always been there for 24 years and will continue to be there in whatever role that myself or other Native women can play to help bring together this unity. I know that we have worked in many different areas to bring together the red, the black, and the brown, and the struggle continues on. And that was the words of my mother, Yonasda Lonewolf, and I am very honored and very blessed to continue on the legacy of my late mother, Yonasda Lonewolf. She passed away of lung cancer in 2003, and I have been working with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who I call Pops, who I call Grandpa, who is my leader, my mentor, my best friend, and I have been working and helping him since my mother passed away in 2005, which was the Millions More movement, which was my first march that I helped him to be a national co-convener for the Indigenous family. And then again, for the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, Justice Sorrells. I have seen, it's such a blessing to travel with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and to be able to see him not just only speak to the church, the Muslims, but also the beauty that I have seen in him speaking to the Indigenous family, our Latinos brothers and sisters, our Native American brothers and sisters all across this nation. And for him to not just only speak with them, but also engage in various ceremonies with them as well, to have a deeper understanding. And I have been honored to also see him go to the reservations and how he's able to just basically be side by side with our Native American brothers and sisters. So I am so blessed to be a part of this and to be a part of this great legacy of the Million Man March. And like in the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, no nation can rise no higher than its woman. And all of the women like my mother that stood by the side of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to be his aide, to be able to help him to unite the Black and the Red nations together. So thank you again for this opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your words, and thank you so much for your fine representation of your family, the minister's family, and all of us in the nation appreciate you. Thank you so much, dear sister. We'll hear more from her in just a few moments as the program moves forward. Now, this next presenter, as I promised you, is a legend. He, like many of us, and just the other day, I was driving down the road listening to Colorblind, Cam, the old piece that you did with Ice Cube and from back in the Death Certificate days, but so much more to what you do, so much more to who you are, and so much more to the value that you hold to our nation. Let's bring our brother forward at this time. He is West Coast Cam.
Peace. Assalamu
Peace.
alaikum. Atonement to everybody. It's a little delay, a few second delay. So if we go over each other, then don't trip. But I'm just humbled and grateful and thankful to Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad for the now Mahdi, the most honored and honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the now Messiah, Honorable Farrakhan Muhammad. Anything you hear me say or see me do of good is strictly because of them. Anything you hear me say wrong or do wrong is because of me. So I don't have no credit of myself. Them three, especially the Minister Farrakhan, literally saved my life and saved my soul and introduced me to the best part of myself and our family. So, I'm trying to look like a real Muslim because I spend most of my career in a t-shirt cussing. So I'm gonna have to beg for y'all's forgiveness and do my first, step of atonement and pointing out my own wrongs, my Popeye the Sailor dirty mouth and certain stuff that, that I know I've offended and misrepresented my leader. So I beg for y'all's forgiveness and please let me know what I can do and help me do it to make, things right for those that I have offended. And I really want to make, this a real holy day of atonement. It's the 26th anniversary. And coincidentally, the 26th chapter of Surah, of the Holy Quran is the poets. So I guess I'm a poet. I'm not trying to be on the negative side of that thing. So I don't believe in coincidences. So my history or whatever in the game, the hip hop game, Minister Farrakhan said it for decades about the power and the influence and the impact of music. The ministry, that's why he set up the Ministry of Arts and Culture, the 9 ministries, but especially the entertainment and music. And from us being Black, that's where soul came from, that's where gospel, that's where jazz, hip hop, everything came from the suffering of our people, the Black and the indigenous, the Black and Native American, which is also Black, even though it said the Red Nation, but that's just a superficial title because those are original Black people, just from a different, original tribe. But the music, the drum, the harmony, the beat, the mathematics, the spirit. And the minister said, one rap record, one rap song can be more effective than 100 or even more of his lectures. I don't, well, if he said it, I agree. So he said it, so I agree. But, the dirty heart and the dirtiness that, that I know that we have, it's hard to accept that, but it's the truth. And studying under that master for 30 years now, registered in the Nation of Islam, everything that he said can't come true. Everything he did, every word he gave that I ever witnessed, he kept his word and made his word bond. And he made me feel like the dirty little worm that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Master Farad Muhammad made him feel like. And I want to empty myself just like a woman or a wife. A lot of women say, I lost myself in a negative way when I got in a relationship with this man. But, this is a man that you want to lose yourself. I want his mind in me. I want to submit, like, not on no funny business, fruity business, but it's only one supreme mind. It's only one Allah mind. And we all are supposed to be sharing that. We might just carry that one mind in in this male form and in the sister form or whatever. So that's the context or the meaning that I'm saying by that. So the fullest, most powerful expression that I ever seen God in person is Farrakhan Muhammad, my Messiah, the Messiah. I never met the most honored and honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Mahdi now, or Master Farrakhan Muhammad, but I met them through Farrakhan. So he the one introduced me and taught me heaven. Everybody wants heaven, right? But then he taught me the flesh and blood, down to earth definition of what heaven is, and that's only for a man. Man is to be found in a woman, right? A woman's heaven is something else that I'm sure that has to do with a man. But if that's what everybody is after, and you know, everybody after the bag, but for males, especially in the rap game, we did everything we did to get the girls, to get even if we got money, we really didn't care about luxury. We just knew girls liked luxury. We didn't care about fame. You know, girls respect fame. So from my little street, you know, interpretations and definitions in the way that I saw things, once I heard the most honorable Elijah Muhammad through Minister Farrakhan saying that the real heaven, like, I don't know nothing about no pie in the sky after you die. The only heaven I know, you know, is in a woman. You love family, only she can give you one. You love, you know, good food. You love Mona Lisa artwork, and nothing looks more beautiful than a black woman, you know. So all your future, your legacy, your bloodline, whatever, is all coming through a woman. And that's what makes, you know, of course, her the number one target. I'm gonna stop in a second. Number one target in the Bible of the serpent. The serpent recognized her value and slid up next to her, and, you know, excited some vain, you know, gassed her up in a little way. But at the end of the book, now in Revelations, this serpent had turned into a big dragon, and now the dragon spews out a flood. Of course, they was trying to attack and destroy the men and leave them vulnerable, but now it's a flood against a propaganda against the women to reward them with money and fame and bag if they would degrade themselves, knowing that they the first teachers, knowing that no nation can rise higher than the mental condition of the women. So that's kind of like the war that we in, and I'm trying to recently, you know, help, even though I'm a male and I don't know how much permission I can have and going too far with that. But a lot of the sisters don't seem to be interested in the science of God and the science of self-discipline, and, you know, and they get attracted by a man. They come into the teachings unto the nation because of a male. So I'm trying to help inspire the brothers to get deep into the study of the real heaven, you know what I'm saying, which is the black woman, not to look at her as an object of pleasure like the Minister Farrakhan taught us. So that's where I'm at right now. You know, I know that you probably thought this was going to be about rap and Ice Cube and West Coast gangbanging, but you know, I'm on heaven. I'm trying to figure out heaven.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And brother, you have done a wonderful job in opening us up tonight, because what you saw in 1995, what we all witnessed, was more than just an expression of get the bag, of secure some material. It was about Black men atoning to God, to our women, to our families, to come together and build the heaven that you just talked about. So you're right on point this morning, or this evening. You're taking what Sister Vicky and Sister Yonasda said together, and we're moving forward to make this thing happen. This next presenter is not a stranger to any of us, as we thank Brother Cam. He's coming to the microphone from his headquarters there in Waxahachie, Texas. But he's my brother, and I've watched him and worked with him and talked with him and listened to him and counseled with him back and forth. And he's one of the great helpers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in this age. And to hear him talk about what he saw in history from the Million Man March that occurred in 1995 has got to be very interesting. Why don't we bring our brother forward at this time? Brother Dr. Ben X from Waxahachie, Texas. Brother Ben?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear, dear brother.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Yes, sir. I want to thank Sister Angela, all of her team, whoever helped put together, because without that thought, that mind to produce something like this, we wouldn't have seen what I would see, the thought that came behind the Million Man March. It's important for us to understand the mindset behind it, because the Mr. Louis Farrakhan said everything that we see is powered by an unseen power. So we see ourselves, we saw the Million Man March. What went on behind it is also very important. We see a light bulb, but the light bulb isn't the reason that my room is shining bright. The light bulb isn't the reason you can see a little light, enough light, but the little light that I do have is not due to the light itself. It's the unseen electricity that's behind it. And what I love about this documentary that they helped put together, we got to see the mindset of the Farrakhan. We got to see the humility, because many of us would like to duplicate what he did. And in fact, Louis Farrakhan said that this is a template for us to do whatever we need to do to get it done. So we got to see the formula that drew over 1 billion in on this mindset today. We saw the work that he put in traveling the world one by one, lead up to something big. We know he didn't do it literally all by himself. He needed some people that can organize. He needed some people that can market, some people that can help get people to the case may be, that led up to this great Million Man March. And that's how we as well. It remind me honestly of Master Fard Muhammad. They said Master Fard Muhammad came door to door, teaching little study groups, time after time, and after he would leave teaching, he would say, well, invite somebody else so they can hear the message as well. So Master Fard Muhammad laid out the founder of the Nation of Islam, and it seems like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did what but Master Fard Muhammad did, and was successful in what we saw today. So for me, what stood out was just humility. So many of us today get arrogant because we got followers. So many of us get arrogant because of little success. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who drew nearly 2 million men, said, man, when somebody asked how much time could I speak, he said, oh, I can't limit your time, Brother Jesse. Like he said, there's no one who has done something like that, showcasing so much humility. He said he had the ability, everybody come follow me. Everybody join the Nation of Islam. He had a great chance to be vain, but he didn't say everybody come join the Nation of Islam. He said everybody go join a organization. So he used his platform to uplift the people. So he doesn't just talk unity, he's showing unity. He's not just saying we need to be together. He's not just saying every time I meet someone, I'm meeting my superior. He's not saying my mother taught me 3 + 4 = yours says 6 + 1 = 7. We all get into the same answer, just in a different way. He's being an example for us how we should do it as well. And I would like to say 1 year before this Million Man, myself was born in a prison. I was born in prison in 1994. Born in prison and have a man 1 year later doing a word that will free our people from the prison that we are in mentally and spiritually means to me, because without his work, there will be no Brother Ben S. Without his work, all the time that he put in, I wouldn't know what to say. I'd be somewhere playing basketball all day. So without the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, anybody who I help, anybody who I have for the word, it is because of that Fard Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I see people all the time say, we need to do the march again. Now, this is my humble perspective. I'm young, I may be wrong. But what I think we do is go back and listen to 1995 and march what he actually said. People used to say, have you met the Honorable Minister Farrakhan before? And I would always tell them, yeah, even before. You know how I met him? Because he got books that he been writing. He got lectures that he's given us. He got countless hours of stuff that he's already given us. Instead of having this man come out year after year, he's 80, about to be 89 years young. We need to go back to 1995. 1999, where he already told us to execute on what he done already given us. So for me, I don't need him to come out and give me another Million Man March. I need to go back to 1995, 10, 15, execute. We'll never need a Million Man March again. So I encourage us to go watch the pledge, because it was nearly 2 million men who raised their hand and made pledges. Not just going to be on the Nation of Islam. It's not Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as he said. He said, what we learned, going to take all of us in to get this job done. My open statements.
Wow. Thank you, my dear brother. Like Brother Diallo said in the chat just a minute ago, that's real spit. Okay. So I'm learning to speak the lingo, you know. Also, Brother Ben, a special greeting. He couldn't be here with us tonight. I don't see him in the chat room, but a special greeting, Brother Ben, to your Uncle Benjamin, our friend, Uncle Benjamin, who appears often in your platforms. He's a dear friend of ours. Would you be able to give him the greetings from his fellow old head to him? Would you do that for me, Ben? Oh, I don't know if he could hear me. That's his opening statement. But family, we're going to move forward right now. In the question and answer period, I promised you'd have direct access to these panelists. Now, dear brothers and sisters, the way we're going to do this is, if you have a question for our panel, I'm going to ask you that you raise your hand in the Zoom platform. And there's a way for you to do that on the controls that either appear at the bottom of your screen on some devices or on the side on others. Raise your hand, and we want to make sure that we recognize you and open up the floor to your questions for our panel. Please keep your questions concise and brief, and make sure they are questions. This is not a soliloquy platform. This is not a pulpit for you. This is a question and answer period based on the Million Man March, the untold story, the great film, the legendary documentary film created by our sister Angela R. Muhammad and her family with Brother Anthony K. Muhammad and the rest of the believers. So let's get ready. Let's get ready to start. I see that you're there. If you are raising your hand, please raise it at this time. And we'd like to get right to your questions for our panel. Right to your questions.
Assalamu alaikum, Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and where you're calling from, please.
I'm Sister Jadair from the faraway land of Brooklyn, New York. How y'all doing?
All right, from Brooklyn. Go right ahead with your question, ma'am.
I just want to know, so one, this documentary was amazing. Thank you to Sister who put the link in the chat to Kweli TV so we could see it again. I want to know, because the documentary mainly covered like days leading up to the Million Man March and then the World Friendship Tour, but do we have any information or can anyone share about what we know about the immediate day after the march? Like what happened on October 17th? What were people doing then? Like how do we know how our minister was feeling that day? Like after having experienced and seen so much and seeing like that seed grow, that mustard seed grow into something so huge, like what happened the day after?
Well, sister, I can start by telling you that I don't know if any other panelists would do that, but I'm going to take the prerogative of the moderator's chair and say that I was with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan the next day after the march, October 17th, 1995. And some of you may have heard me tell this story before, but I'm going to be very brief in recounting it tonight. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was invited in the aftermath of the Million Man March to be a guest on the radio talk show of Miss Kathy Hughes, whose name may be familiar to you as the owner of Radio 1 and TV 1, the great broad networks. At that time, she had one radio station, WOL 1450 AM in Washington, and its studios were on 4th and H Streets Northeast in the middle of the Black community. That community is still somewhat Black, but gentrification is a big dog. We were there at the studios of WOL, and there was a studio broadcast, and they would have a big picture window on the street that led out onto 4th Street. And some of you may remember this. If you're in the chat and you can remember, say you can, because I want to make sure we get it right. But we were there on the air at WOL. I was outside with the motorcade cars as the minister went on the air. While the minister spoke and said that he was in the studio in Washington on WOL, something started happening, my dear sister from Brooklyn. People just started showing up on foot. First, there was a trickle, and then a flow, and then a deluge of people who just showed up, listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the air, just listening. And as he was there speaking and answering questions and celebrating the success of the Million Man March, the intersection of 4th and H began to get increasingly clogged. People started getting off of the G8 bus, the Metro bus. People started getting off of the X2 bus. Some Washingtonians know what I'm talking about. They got off the buses and started walking toward the stations. Taxi cabs parked and the taxi drivers got out and started walking toward the station. Noting this, it was a very wise decision made by the security, and shouts out to Brother Student Regional Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad and to our Supreme Captain, Brother Mustafa Farrakhan, for their sharp minds in getting the Honorable Minister, the X2 is wild, yes it is, Salima, but we were getting the minister out of the building. And as the crowd was out there, and as he came out of the building, they began to shout and chant, Farrakhan, Farrakhan, Farrakhan. And the minister acknowledged him and smiled and waved and walked over to the car. And something possessed the minister at that moment to get up on the door jamb of the car and stand up and reach over the top of the car and wave at the crowd on the other side of the intersection, which at this point was so clogged with people and vehicles that no traffic could move. When the minister raised his hand up above the car, I saw something I had never seen before. It was a human surge toward the minister in the car. They wanted to touch him, to love him, to share in the power, the triumph, the victory, the joy of the moment. And as they began to move toward the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I saw Brother Sharif and Brother Mustafa look at each other and agree. And at that moment, they scooped the minister up under his arms and placed him in the car, closed the door, and the cars began to inch away through the intersection. And as the car moved through the intersection, the people were chanting the minister's name and saying how much they loved him and thanking God for him. And there was a power in that moment that, as a witness to it, I've never seen anything like that before. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the consensus leader of Black people in America. Never let anybody tell you that he's not. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the one who walks this walk with a bullseye from the devil on his back. But praise be to Allah, he's been given protective armor, as mentioned in the scripture, and no weapon formed against him shall prosper. That I saw in that intersection that day. Any other panelists that remember the October 17th aftermath of the march? Anybody else that wants to add to it, please feel free. I mean, I know, Yonasda, how you were in Washington that weekend. What do you remember? Anybody remember anything specifically?
I was not in Washington.
You weren't there?
No, I came to Washington for the Million Family March. And then I came for the 1-year anniversary in New York when my mother was there. My mother wasn't even in Washington. She got orders that she needed to stay home. Okay. I believe a lot of the women got orders to stay home during that time because from what I've heard, you know, from top was that they didn't know how it was going to be. You know, they didn't know they didn't, on a security risk, they didn't know. So I remember my mother gathered a lot of the MGT sisters and all of them to the house, and we watched it from home. But I do remember the next day, and just even through the entire time, the energy and how beautiful it was. And it was, for me, I was about 17 years old. I was about 17 years old when on the Million Man March. And I was just on cloud 1,000, you know, to see that many men come to Washington, D.C. And as a teenager at that time, I was so happy to see what my future was going to be. Yes, you know, and I was so happy to see that, you know, and just a testimony. Some of my friends were teenage mothers, And those fathers that said that they didn't want to have anything to do with those children or whatever, that went to the Million Man March, came back home and said that they want to be able to be present not only in the child's life, but also in that in their friend's life as well. And they were teenagers, you know, so it really was inspiring to see so many people, especially Black people, Black men, come back home, to come back and to be able to want to change. And I remember my high school friends, they all was like, you know, he goes by the name of Mike Rashid. He's my son's father, my oldest son's father. And he registered in the Nation of Islam. A lot of my friends just all ended up registering in the Nation of Islam during that time as well.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Brother Cam, tell us what happened that next day for you, my dear brother.
Peace. Well, nobody but I guess my immediate family would know this, but I didn't make the Million Man March in '95 because I actually tried to fast from October the 1st to October 7th to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's birthday. And on October 7th, I had like a psychological nervous breakdown or something like that. And I was out of commission for a year and a half. So, you know, that's a whole different subject. I cried all the way through the Million Man March, you know, watching it and wishing I was there. But for whatever reason, Allah had me arrested, and I didn't come back online, you know, to getting on my marbles straight to about, like I said, about a year and a half later.
And look how God brought you out and made you polished. You say you looking the part tonight. You're doing much more than looking the part, brother. you are doing. See, because if God can't bring you through something like that, then you hopeless. And the fact that he brought you through means that you can reinforce hope for all of us. And so I'm very, very grateful that you shared that with us. Well, anybody else want to remember the 17th of October? This is a key question. What was happening on the 17th? What were you observing? What did you see from wherever you were? What did you see? Anybody else? Any panelists? We'll come back to that question.
You know what was crazy? Was how they tried to say that it wasn't a million men. That was the whole headlines the next day, was the counting. And mainstream media was trying to say, like, they really turned that into a whole story. Do you remember that, brother?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The National Park Service estimated the crowd initially at 400,000 men. And there was a play on it because after the movie starring Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes and Rosie Perez called White Men Can't Jump, they also made fun and they said white men can't count. Right. Because clearly there were 2 million men. Now the the Navy took a satellite picture from above. They estimated the crowd at between 1.87 and 2.01 million. Yep. Okay. So the crowd was around 2 million at its greatest. Okay. But the papers had to try to diminish it. Remember, the Million Man March at this time, and the filmmakers can tell us this, Sister Angela can tell us this clearly, because Minister Farrakhan described you, Sister Angela, as the gift that was given to him to tell the story of the Million Man March. But the Million Man March was the largest gathering, and still to this day remains the largest gathering on public space in the United States history. It's also the most peaceful and safest gathering of its type ever to be held in the United States. That day, there were no crimes, there was no assaults, there was no murders, there was no robberies. Brothers were helping each other. If a brother fell down, they picked him up. It was an older man, they carried him and set him down on the place that he needed to go to. I remember during the charity portion of the program, that was a part I paid particularly close attention to. But during the charity portion of the program, when the receptacles were at one end of a group of brothers, the brothers would help each other just pass the cash down and place it in the receptacle, and they would help each other get the job done. There was a spirit there that was aptly described on the front page of the Final Call as a glimpse of heaven. So that's what's happening. I'm going to get back to the questions because we could talk all night about this, but let's go back to our brothers and sisters. Let's talk about that. What else is happening? Who else is in the chat room? Just open your mic. Let us hear your name and where you're calling from, and we'll hope to see your video in the
Am
group.
I on?
You are on, my dear brother.
Oh, peace to the family.
Your name, sir, and where you're calling from.
Talib Shabazz Bey. I'm calling from Phoenix, Arizona. I was invited by the awesome brother Ben X. We've been kind of communicating back and forth through these funny memes on social media. So what's important is that the message is getting out and everybody is uniting. 19 Keys, all of those guys, I really appreciate them. ABS Tribe has really helped me in many ways, but you said be very specific, got a short amount of time. So I just wanted to add and share the legal aspect. All of our people are suffering, as Cam would know, Brother Ben X would know, all of us are suffering because of law. And the law, like I'm a Muslim, right? I'm a Moor, but law has put me in jail, right? Law has gotten my family violated. So if anything, I would just like to be of any assistance that I can in the area of law. I want to be extremely humble, but it is some amazing information that has been kept from us, hidden from us in plain sight. And it is so unbelievable. I would have to say the reason that I'm on here is because of, all of this, what they say, Allah's the best of planners, everything. Like I've died twice, right? I've been flatlined twice. But right now I'm dealing with a situation that really made me learn all of this stuff. 3 of my children were stolen into the largest human and sex trafficking agency on the planet, known as DCS here in Arizona. I followed the chain of command properly. I went all the way to the top, Doug Ducey. And I found that that didn't work. So then I I hopped ships and I left the Democrats because I was there in 2007 in Richmond, Virginia. I campaigned for a gentleman named Senator Barack Husseini Obama. So I met him when he was a senator. So I've been dealing with these folks for a very long time and all.
Now tell me, Brother Talib, this is interesting. Tell me, what's your question tonight on the Million Man March? Because I hear the
specific question tonight, or specifically about the Million Man March. Any question? No, I really don't have any questions. Okay. I've seen other documentaries on it. I like your guys is better than the other stuff because the other people do fake news. They lie about it. Yeah. So like the sister said, first thing they lied about was the numbers. It was well over 1 million. Actually, it was closer to like 2 million.
That's correct. Now let me ask you: could you leave your law information in the chat for us to contact you tonight? If there's any way that we,
I'll leave my email and everything like that in there. It's just really my Facebook, I really, most of the stuff that I do, because I know that I'm reaching who I want, is on Twitter. But
okay, well, do it. Put it in the chat so we can keep the conversation rolling. Put it in the chat, and we're going to go to the next questioners because we asked the questions. Okay, thank you, my dear brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. Put it right in the chat. Okay, my dear brother, who has the next, brothers and sisters, who has the next question for us tonight in the chat room? Just open your mic, raise your hand. We'd like to recognize you once the director gets to you, okay? Anybody, the next question? Because we have other questions from the panel, and they're great. I want to definitely, as we're getting to that next question, I want to swing back around to our brother Dr. Ben X in Waxahachie, because brother, you mentioned something that was very, very key. You talked about being born in a very difficult situation in prison a year before the Million Man March, yet today you're one of the chief proponents of the principles of the Million Man March. In your view, brother Ben, how did that happen? How did you find yourself embodying those principles? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, sir. So I got introduced to the nation by a good brother named Brother Malik Muhammad, our study group coordinator. And he came to speak at my school about the role of the male and the female. And I asked him to become my mentor because he was into business, but he also graduated high school at the age of 15, 16, young. And as I was invited to groups, Muhammad Ali was a big inspiration on me joining as well, because he was an athlete like I am, had a personality, but also he stood on truth. And at that time, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, was speaking about, he was doing the time of what must be done. So a lot of things that he was speaking on when it came to international wars, I was kind of ignorant to. Looked at more lectures from him. All the questions that I had about, life, relationships, God, business, he answered in some lecture, even if it was from 1970 some or 80, I found him answering those questions. So when it came to, like I said, the behind the scene mindset, I was learning how to think from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and from watching his example, it has led me to get through a lot of hard times and over a lot of things that the average person without any teachings could get through because of his example. So for me personally, study guys, for me, it has been most helpful because he's given us his life, the rise into the thinking of God, the struggle for balance, the God within, like he's giving us the principles and the mindset that he in overcoming his trials and tribulations. And if we're following him, it says what? When you pick up your cross and follow him, we're going to be persecuted. We're going to be lied on all. So we see him being true. Master didn't come to make two gods. He came to make us all gods. So he is giving us the blueprint and the principles that you talked about, laying out for us the success if we just follow it. So that's how I studying him
sir.
And closing the gap, reading and closing the gap book.
Thank you so much, brother. Stay right there by the microphone. I'm sure some of these next questions will be for you. Who's next in the queue? Just open up your microphone, raise your hand, and let's make sure we can open your camera. See you. Let us know who you are, where you're calling from, and what your question is for our panelists. Who's next?
I think I am. I'm Sister Carol from Muhammad's Mosque, number 11 in Boston, Massachusetts.
All right ahead, Sister Carol, your question.
Yes, my question is for Brother West Coast Cam. I love your opening statement. I'm working towards my doctoral degree to graduate next year. And my thesis is on relationships, actually the competitive challenge we have because of the internet dating versus traditional way of dating. And I'd just like for you to elaborate a little bit more on like where in your experience do you see relationships now? You said like you're empowering, educating brothers on seeing the Black woman as heaven. I loved everything you said. I want to use your intro in my book that I'm doing for my thesis on relationship. But if you could just share a little bit more on where you see things are since you have been doing.
All right. The audio is fading out, but Brother Cam, I think you heard enough of the question. Why don't you go ahead and start on that answer for Sister Carol in Boston?
Thank you, Sister Carol. I think I understand it. What I see is anti-spookism, first of all, like, bringing everything down to earth and mastering where we are, and understanding that unfortunately there is a competition, there is an envy, there is a bitterness between Black male and the Black woman, of course, because of Satan, because of our open enemy and them controlling media, them controlling literature, them controlling religious doctrine, them controlling the money. And in this world, of course, the nature of the woman is to, she's equal. The male and female are equal value. We can't have one without the other, but the roles are totally different. The role of a man is to provide and protect the woman in this world, in this system, because of an enemy, because of, so certain authority issues that our sisters might have and be disappointed because, okay, you're not perfect, brother, and I'm not going to follow you and this and that. And they justified in not following us if our leadership, our protection, our respect level ain't up to par. But the reason why that's necessary is because of an enemy. You know, intelligence. You know, as far as intelligence, we can be equal. It's many women, sisters that's far more intelligent, you know, than we are. But when it comes to knowing our roles, like I'm studying, like a lot of our sisters don't necessarily, because of us males, they don't know or understand their role because we don't know and understand our role. So we think heaven is in the sky, just like the white man told us, but it took a real messenger of a real, true, and living God, talking about the most honored and honorable Elijah Muhammad, to bring it down to earth. Even though they say that the Muslims, y'all oppress women, and that's not the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is the opposite. The Nation of Islam is saying that there's no such thing as a goddess. The black woman is God, just like the black man is God. They twin halves of the same single essence, the same original.
Getting into it. You see, right. You're getting into it tonight, brother. See, this is why you can't miss a Zoom call like this. And when you see this panel tonight with my brother West Coast Cam, we about to go back and get our sister Vicky Diller. We about to get more and more in this conversation. You're going to see the power of what has been presented and what was exemplified at the Million Man March. So, Sister Carol, thank you for your great question from Boston.
Thank you.
And again, we're looking forward to seeing you with that doctoral degree, marching down that aisle with that gown on and that cap, and getting that doctorate to serve our people. Thank you so much, dear sister, for your question. Thank you so much. But now our next question goes to Brother James. Brother James, we're going to highlight your video. We want to make sure we get a chance to hear your question and hear what you have to ask tonight. Brother James, come right ahead with your question.
Okay, can I be heard?
You can, my dear brother. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay,
your question?
I don't know if you remember me, brother. I just want to mention something that happened that day, a miracle, the day of the march. You know, I used to do charity with you at different venues. I'm the brother with James Brown's photographer, if you remember. Now I'm James 15
yes,
next
sir.
in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to mention this here. Being that I was a photographer, I was standing up on two tall speakers, real tall speakers, taking pictures. But before I got there, you know, and I was walking down that street, and the next block, like you think you would see like 10, 15 men come. I was standing there. I saw 10 men, 20 men, 30, 100 men, 200. I stood at one corner and watched 500 men come. Then I went, and they all came into the same block. Then I went to the next block. I counted up to 500, 600, 700 black non-white men coming into the main block. I mean, I counted thousands and thousands of men, and this was a miracle to me, not just 10 and 20 coming out of a block. And then I stood up on top of the speakers, and everywhere I looked, I saw men, and I was standing up there with my camera just saying, total victory, total victory. I said that all day long, and that was one of the most beautiful things, miracles that I've experienced in the Nation of Islam, and that came in 1960. Thank you very much, and assalamu alaikum. Love you all who love Farrakhan.
Love you too, brother, and that's a key distinction. I like it, Brother James. That's a soldier distinction. He said, love you all who love Farrakhan. I heard you, black man. Beautiful, beautiful commentary. I'm going to ask him, take the question back around in the remaining time that we have. My sister, Vicky Dillon, I'm going to ask you to come forward at this time, sister, because you started our discussion tonight as we looked at the Million Man March, the untold story, the great documentary, but you put it in spiritual terms. And that's the basis of my question for you tonight. You put it in terms that dealt with the Bible, Ezekiel 37 to be exact. You put it in spiritual terms, and you put it in terms that invited us to examine what's going on from that perspective. Could you have a word with us about where we are biblically and Quranically today, and how you see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's importance in Black America? Sister Vicky Dillon, are you there?
I am here. Yes, sir. Hopefully you can see me okay.
We can see it fine.
Awesome, awesome. Well, yes, sir. First of all, I believe that the Bible is an energetic book, a spiritual book that speaks, and there are multiple layers, just like there are multiple layers to an onion, there are multiple layers in one text that speaks. We know that there are schools of thought that teach, and of course, even some of the teachings within the nation, that our elders wrote history thousands of years, 24, 25,000 years, even in advance. So one of the things that I love about the prophetic nature, the foretelling nature of events, is that the reason we can be so certain about what's to come is because we wrote it. And as the original man and as the original woman, we had that capacity because in the beginning was the word became flesh. With that being said, I see very clearly the supernatural element, essence, and energy of the text from Ezekiel 37 coming to life. I believe that the Bible, and not only the Bible, of course, the Quran and other sacred texts, it's crypted in many ways. It's coded. It speaks in algorithm. So it's important that we have someone that's capable, that's able to decode and demystify those things. So that's the reason why I drew the connection between Minister Farrakhan and Ezekiel and where we are in terms of this nation, in terms of the United States of America and our people, the Black men and the Black woman, and as our brother our brother Cam said so eloquently, and our sister Lonewolf alluded to, was when she mentioned about the Black man, red man, and so forth, and he mentioned about Blackness. I'm very big on emphasizing that, not just about a color, but as we've been saying, and the ancestors taught us, that Black is what? The essence from which all things come. And so we understand that it's so important that that's understood, going back to that Blackness, that essence that matters. So with that being said, in terms of the minister and this nation, I believe that we're seeing the prophetic story of the children of Israel's Exodus about to go down. That's where I feel like that we are right now. If we're getting our this whole march, the vibration that I was talking about, the assemblage of these bones in this body that's coming together, I believe that's a big part of what we're seeing. We're seeing the dissatisfaction raising, as we know, must happen, must take place, and we're seeing it left and right. We're seeing the demands for reparation, restitution, repair, and justice. We're seeing that among our people and all peoples of the planet. We're starting to see some of those cries. And so I believe that we're headed out now into our promised land. But before the promised land, we understand that we know a way they didn't know. There were some things that had to take place, and then a Joshua generation coming to pass. I talk about this often, even on my show. I'll say this and I'll be finished. That remember, it's written that the God wanted to get rid of most of the elders of that day. It was only, he was, right after he delivered them, guess what? It was the older ones. He said, I'm getting ready to wipe all of you all out that I just delivered. We're seeing, I think, a lot of that happening now with some of our Black legacy elders and others that I believe we're seeing that, except for the Joshua and Caleb. And we can definitely say that our minister is in that number of the elders that's making it into the promised land and that we're preparing for now. So I think that's a part of it. I think that we're seeing the separation of the because we love to call everybody our brothers and sisters, but that's not written. That's not a spiritual principle, baby. Let me put you up on game. Everybody's not a true prophet. There's a false prophet. Everybody's not a true sheep. There's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And so we can't be that ignorant and we can't be that twisted on that. So we're seeing that separation first in-house and then outside of the house, and the ultimate separation between us and our open enemy. So I say, no matter what it looks like, I'm going to say this because I have to go after this, but I want to thank you for the extreme honor of being able to join this magnificent panel, but most important, this extraordinary movement that is backed by heaven, that's backed by the will, and thank God we have a capable, more than a man at the helm of this, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But I'll say this. We know that when a woman is getting ready to give birth, there's often what? Screams, pain, sleepless nights, bloodshed, right? But she's getting ready to bring forth something. So I want our people to know that the difficulty that we're facing, it's not easy, but we're getting ready to birth a brand new nation. Thank you so much, my dear brother, for giving me this great honor to participate in this. And even though I may not look shiny and all this kind of stuff, I may not have the connections within the nation and all those kinds of things, I certainly appreciate the love that I received.
Wait just a second. You got all the connections you need and you're shining like new money. So don't tell that story on here tonight, because everybody will have to get after you if you tell some other than the truth after all that truth you told tonight. Before you leave, we want to thank you, sister. As we're wrapping up, we're in the last 15 minutes of our program, so we have to get all the way through to the questions and then hear the closing statements from the filmmaker and the Ministry of Arts and Culture with Brother Anthony Seven and Sister Letitia. But sister, thank you so very much. We follow you, we back you up, we pray for you, and we know that as a mighty warrior, you stand, yes, with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but you also stand with righteous people everywhere, and we thank you for that stand. So as long as you can hang on. But if we don't get a chance to tell you no more, we love you and thank you so very much for joining us. All right, Sister Vicky Dillon, y'all heard her.
I love you,
you heard her. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We're going to go back to the chat now. We got a call all the way up from Atlanta, Georgia, from down there where they grow the peaches all the time in Georgia. Sister Ricky Zahir is on the line. Sister Ricky, can you open up your mic and let us know what's going on in Georgia? What's your question for our panel tonight?
Hello. Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate all this. I'm taking notes. My question is, I heard a gentleman on the documentary say that they had to meet with like the Navy, the Army, all these people and everything. So I was thinking about like the day of the Million Man March, what was the military like? What were the cops like? Because, you know, when it comes to us, they don't really care. So I just wondered like what it was, you know, what their part was for being there.
Let me take this question, if you don't mind, Brother Anthony, Sister Angela. I was there. And I do know, Sister Ricky, that gentleman that you heard speak on the documentary is that brother named Abdul Sharif Muhammad. At the time, he served as the supreme captain of the Nation of Islam. And today, he's your Southern Regional Minister of our nation, headquartered at the mosque on Campbellton Road in Southwest Atlanta. So he's right there at the mosque, right there. You know the one I'm talking about in Ben Hill, right? That's where he is. But that's our brother. And he was the supreme captain representing the liaison for Minister Farrakhan between us and these law enforcement agencies. As he said, we had to meet with all of the agencies. The District of Columbia has a lot of police law enforcement agencies. You have the local police department, the Metropolitan Police, the Capitol Police, who later became famous, especially on January 6th of this year. You had all of these other various different police agencies, along with the Army, the Navy, the CIA, the FBI, because all of them have some overlapping jurisdiction in the District of Columbia in the federal government-controlled areas. The government chose to shut down that day because they didn't know what would happen and what would they have to do. But because of God's guidance that you heard Sister Vicky and Brother Cam, and you heard Sister Yonasda talk about, these are the things that happened that actually unfolded, and the spirit was so beautiful, they had nothing to do. Many of the people who were there, and I served as one of the masters of ceremonies for the Million Man March. I was younger then, I had black hair. Shut up, Brother Keith and Brother Anthony, y'all be quiet. Brother Cam, I can hear you in the background laughing. But I remember in those days, we were able to do this in such a way that most of us didn't recall seeing any police that day, other than in a role of service to the Nation of Islam. They had never seen organized Black people like you. They had never seen disciplined and civilized Black people like you. They had never seen people who moved in an organized and respectful way like you move. And so there was no way that we could have anything other than success when God himself was backing that occasion. So sister, when you study the Million Man March, know that that Million Man March was and remains the most significant public gathering ever assembled in America, because it was a gathering that was unexpected entirely and worked outside of the box, as you heard Minister Farrakhan say in the video, They said, we do marches on Saturdays because people got to go back to work Monday. He said, no, we're doing it on Monday so people can sacrifice and show their seriousness of commitment. And as Sister Phyllis just pointed out in the chat, Allah orchestrated the entire course of events. Everything was in the mind of God. So Sister Ricky, thank you for your question. I hope that shed some light on your question. And we really, really appreciate you for your inquiry. Now, let's go back to our questions. Now, we have any other questions in the chat? If we do, make sure you open your mic. You see how the system works. We want to receive you. We have only a few minutes left. And in about 4 minutes, we're going to go and start wrapping up with our panel so we can conclude this program this evening. And special thanks. I want to say this at the bottom of the program, like we said it at the top. Special thanks to the Ministry of Arts and Culture for the Mid-Atlantic region under the direction of Brother Anthony 7X, his wife, Sister Letitia. And we really appreciate what you all are doing there with this Ministry of Arts and Culture and bringing this great project, The Million Man March, The Untold Story, the great film documentary produced by Sister Angela R. Muhammad with the great help of her wise and really brilliant husband, Brother Anthony K. Muhammad, and certainly our brother, student minister Abdul Qadir Muhammad, by whose work and permission and counsel we move in this particular way. So this is a great, great event. Let's go back to the chat. Any other questions there? Just open your mic and don't ask, don't try to give no speech now. And Miss Cleo, if you're in the chat, don't say nothing about we got to call you now on 800. Don't do it. But we want to make sure we recognize all those who have a legitimate question for our panel. Brother Brian Sayers, if you're there, why don't you open up your mic and bring yourself to the front? We'll highlight you at this time for your question. Brother Brian?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
I'm out of Omaha, Nebraska, Brother Brian X.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to say real quick, I was there at the Million Man March. And one thing that I didn't understand that I came to understand later from reading the scripture where the prophets, there were a couple different times when the prophets came to the children of Israel and the covenant, renewed the covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't until years later when I understood that, going back to listen again to the Million Man March, that I realized that that's what was taking place. And he actually said those words, he was renewing the covenant with us. So anyway, that's all I wanted to add as far as that in terms of the historical aspect of everything and what was,
yes, sir,
what I saw was taking place. That's all I got.
Hey, Brother Brian, thank you so much. Are you in Omaha tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, brother, be careful out in them Omaha streets, brother. Be careful out there tonight. And we appreciate you and everybody there in the Cornhusker state of Nebraska out there in Omaha, a great, great city that gave us Malcolm X and Bob Gibson and Kathy Hughes and Brother Brian X, the great city of Omaha, Nebraska. Thank you, my dear brother. Now, it's my pleasure and honor at the end of the panel discussion. And our panelists who are here, stay here. We got something special to say to you in the way of thanks. But I'm going to throw back to the man of the hour, the organizer of this particular program. The organizer of this particular program is our brother from Washington, D.C., the student minister of arts and culture, and the coordinator of that ministry for our Nation of Islam. Brother Anthony 7, if you don't mind coming back to the microphone, we'd like to have you lead our concluding remarks, and then we'll move forward into the conclusion of our program. Brother Anthony 7.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Jamil. On behalf of Vanguard Television and the group of artists that pulled this project together, we want to thank our moderator, our special guests, panelists, and everyone who were able to tune in to this evening's program. We want to thank the tech team, Sister Kiyama and Brother Assad, along with Brother Anthony K. Words cannot be said enough of thanks for you all's participation in this evening's program, which is a historic event. Again, we want to thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for the opportunity to allow us to archive a moment in time, this history. I would like to leave you as I came in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, dear brother. And for our concluding remarks, we want to go back to the filmmaker herself. If there's anything that you wanted to add, Sister Angela, with you there and Brother Anthony K, and that crack tech team, Brother Assad and Sister Kiyama, anything that you wanted to add from the group of you who are gathered there together, we would not miss this opportunity to hear from you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Again, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank again our esteemed panelists. You know, you see these people on social media, and it's such an honor that they were willing to take time out of their busy schedule to share with us their experience in commemorating the 26th anniversary of the Million Man March. Like the minister said in the documentary, you know, we have to come together for a cause that's bigger than ourselves. So I really thank each and every one of them. I thank each and every one of you. Of course, I have to thank Allah and thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because of course, without him, there would not have been a Million Man March. One thing that comes to mind that I just wanted to share with everyone, when we were interviewing Brother Ishmael, and he was talking to us, and he said, you know, I wonder why nobody ever thought of doing a documentary on the Million Man March. And then he paused and he looked at me. He said, well, I guess it was meant for you to do it. So, you know, you wonder sometimes, what is your purpose here on this earth? And so I believe that that was one of my purposes, was to produce the Million Man March documentary. So thank you all again. And I'll turn it over to you, Brother Jamil.
All right. We're about to wrap up. Our panelists now, I want to shine the light on them before we go with a special thanks. Our sister Vicki Dillard is no longer with us. She had to go to a previous commitment elsewhere in the electronic world of gatherings like this. But we want to thank Sister Vicki Dillard for being with us. We certainly have a special thanks for Sister Yonasda, Lonewolf. She is always powerful. Sister, get in touch with me. I got to laugh with you about some of the old stories. We're going to have to tell some old stories again. But Sister Yonasda, we appreciate you so very, very, very much. And certainly we appreciate my brothers, Brother West Coast Cam, whatever your next creative project is, brother, we want to support it. We want to be with you. We know that you're a part of the effort that produced A Million Deep on your front lawn. You know what happened in 1995. But Brother Cam, thank you so much for everything that you've always contributed here tonight. And finally, my dear beloved brother, my dear brother, Dr. Ben X, he's down there in Texas doing what he does. And for you to say, well, he ain't no doctor, hush. He received an honorary doctorate degree by people who recognize what he does as having value. He's not arrogant. He's not vain. He doesn't make you call him doctor. But when we have a brother who's doing so much in the way of healing the sickness in our thinking and helping to liberate our ideas and make us free, financially free, time freedom, health freedom, yes, then that's our brother, and he's doing what he does. And if you can call Julius Irving a doctor, if you can call Andre Young to produce Drake, okay, well then this is our brother Ben X, all right? So we're glad to have you, Brother Ben, on the program tonight, and we thank all of you. So if there's nothing else from you, Sister Angela, and from Brother Anthony, then we'll conclude in prayer and be dismissed on time by 10 o'clock.
Can I say something really, really quick?
You can, because you got 30 seconds before we start.
Okay, real quick. So, Brother Tremikas from Phoenix, Arizona asks, what is the best thing for us to do now to continue the vision from the Million Man March movement? And in the words of the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan that I always hear him say after every single time he speaks, is let's get to work. And I think that right, it's not what he always taught me with the first march was, it's not what happens at the march, it's what happens after the march. And so I believe that for us to continue the momentum and the spirit of what we're feeling today is to continue to do the work, continue to go to all of these beautiful books, everything. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan left us thousands of literature, thousands of DVDs, thousands of so much stuff that we can be able to just go to. We don't have to wait for another speech from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. He has given us so much that we can be able to help our people 100 years from now. So, so in the words of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, to keep the spirit of the Million Man March alive, let's continue doing the work. Let's continue going into our community, and let's continue to get out of our comfort zone and to get uncomfortable with helping our people in the barrio, on the reservation, and in the hood.
That's right. Very good, sister. 28, 29, 30. Okay, yes, ma'am. So all praise is due to Allah. Thank you so much, my dear beloved sister. Family, let's get ready for prayer. We'll close out in the Muslim prayer and we'll be dismissed. Tomorrow morning, be sure to join us at noi.org/webcast at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock in Denver, Colorado, and then 8 o'clock on the West Coast to hear the live message on the 26th anniversary of the Million Man March from our dear beloved brother, student minister Ishmael Muhammad. That'll be tomorrow. Thank you, Brother Ruben. Tomorrow at noi.org/webcast. We appreciate you for all of your help. And we ask everybody, let's take our sister's counsel and let's get ready to go to work. Let's get ready to rumble and do the things that need to be done. So, brothers and sisters, if there's nothing else, then we'll make our brief prayer and be dismissed. Assume the position of prayer. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen ar-rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdini siratal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. O Allah, we seek your help and we ask thy mercy, for we believe in thee and trust in thee for all that we need. We're helpers in thy cause with thy apostle, so please grant to us success. Ameen. Ameen. Brothers and sisters, we're dismissed. Have a good time. Hug your family. Tell them you love them. And get ready for tomorrow. Let's go to work. Like our sister said, I mean, everybody, I mean. Salam alaikum, and may Allah bless you on behalf of the Ministry of Arts and Culture in Washington, D.C. in the Mid-Atlantic region, and on behalf of the creators, makers, and distributors of the Million Man March, the untold story. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is Ice Cube from the West Side Connection, calling all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. The world has never seen a million black men in one place. But on October 16th in Washington, D.C., a million black men will gather.
Yeah, word up, son. Check it out, though. You know what I'm saying? Word up, son. Listen up, son. You know what I'm saying? Got you. Drop it for the one time. Listen up, son. Check it out, though. Hey, yo, open your eyes, get wiser, look alive, focus your attention. Windows 95, updated, high-tech lynching. Cautious of the colored man who claim he owns the keys to the safe. Secrets of the world, blow him in his face. Who's the master of the universe? Sure. Galaxy and planets, Babylonians, the static moon, the sinking of Atlantis. When soul originals, black with melanin, going out the represent Kuwait in 2000.
Brothers gonna have to put themselves in check. 3 strikes, you in the penzo, shank to your neck. Your woman cries, your baby grows up alone. Talking through a 3-inch glass on a 2-way phone. You tell me brothers got no options today. You better listen to the ice closely, fool. Crime don't pay. Gas and dope, bullets and coke ain't the way. You need to march with the nation on Atonement Day. Man, to all my brothers, we be rhyming like this. Yeah, I can hear it. They can't kill a mill or dismantle it. If we can leave the component alone, show all my brothers the instead of new clothes. In the back of Vanguard, but I be knocking them out the box like no mention. On the single, we be flowing at the lingo.
You turn the volume down a little bit on the music. We want to make this announcement. It's $ Vanguard, TVN, $ VANGURARD, TVN. It's Vanguard TVN, $ Vanguard TVN. We need your support. Send your Cash App right away. This is an after the credits type message, right? Like where they put the bloopers in the movies, but this ain't no mistake. Go $ Vanguard, VANGUARD, T as in Thomas, V as in Victor, N as in Nancy, $ Vanguard TVN. That's how you can support this great effort. And we thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful, wonderful event.
Yo, check this out. This is Ice Cube from the Westside Connection, calling all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. The world has never seen 1 million black men in one place. But on October 16th in Washington, D.C., 1 million black men will gather.
Yeah, word up, son. Check it out, though. You know what I'm saying? Word up, son. Listen up, son. You know what I'm saying? Drop it for the one time. Listen up, son. Check it out, though. Hey, yo, open your eyes, get wiser, look alive, focus your attention. Windows 95, updated, high-tech lynching. Courses of the colored man who claim he owns the keys to the safe. Secrets of the world, blow him in his face. Who's the master of the universe? Galaxy and planets, Babylonians, the static moon, the sinking of Atlantis.
See the one soul originals, black filled with melanin, going out like rebels in Kuwait in 2000.
Brothers gonna have to put themselves in check. 3 strikes, you in the penzo, shank to your neck. Your woman cries, your baby grows up alone. Talking through a 3-inch glass on a 2-way phone. You tell me brothers got no options today. You better listen to the ice closely, fool. Crime don't pay. Gas and dope, bullets and coke ain't the way. You need to march with the nation on Atonement Day.
Man, to all my brothers, we be rhyming like this. Yeah, I can handle it. They can't kill a mill or dismantle it. If we can leave the component alone, show my brother the brother instead of me. Clone crackers in the back of scene, know what I mean? But I been knocking them out the box like no command. So on the single, we be flowing at the lingo, coming together, not soul like Mandingo.
So where you at, Joe? Right here, hanging with my brothers and we showing off there.
So where you at, Joe?
Yeah. Right here, if you represent, throw your hands in the air.
Check it. Arm, leg, arm, head. My peoples with braids, waves, dreads, and bald heads. 1 million strong doing duty. Wisdom, strength, beauty. Guma R's, they bar. Sun, moon, star. And it's our holy day. Come sober. Smooth B in DC. 16th of October. In unity, there's power. None can devour. Hour after hour. Love shower.
Imagine us traveling back to Nazareth. Fabulous. Raise up the black dead slaves like Lazarus.
When our chests raised through the blaze, holy essays. No more death days of vexed slaves possessed and caged.
It's the last day of time, we got to raise your mind. Brothers walk around dumb, different and blind. Pregnant earths always carry eggs. Our pledge to never fall off the ledge. And flash we made family like sister sledge.
God prepared the table for us in the presence of our enemy. Now we soon to be one in unity. 1, 2, 3, I'm a G.
But the God inside, it's that G I chose to be. The world is a stage and everybody plays a part. I'm not considered the one with a sensitive heart. When I say black man, you say go. Black man, go. Black man. Go. So where you at, Joe? Right here. Hanging with my brothers and we showing up there. So where you at, Joe? Right here. If you represent, throw your hands in the air. Somebody stole me. You took me from Kunta to Toby and mold me in a way that you freed me but still hold me. What you trying to pull? Eating us like cannibals. Whatever happened to that 40 acres and that animal? Now you trying to use integration just to fool us. Like Malcolm said, we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled. Mama crying and I ain't lying. I'm going to Washington for justice. I'ma get it or die trying. Don't hesitate. He set the date, and that's a million black men in one place to set it straight. So black women applaud the black guard. I'm P.A. Smart with the Million Man Mars.
Damn, that's how you know the world about to end. Rain, hail, snow, earthquakes, and a million black men up under God indivisible. With liberty and justice for all, cause y'all done made us miserable with this American nightmare. That's why October 16th we gon' be right there like, yeah, the same brothers that you won't gone. Well, we about 1 million deep on your front lawn. It's going on from here to Abraham Lincoln statue. And every brother here thinking, yeah, we need to holler at you about this overdue business. With the black Muslim, Christian, Jew, and Jehovah Witness. To get this out in the open, the only way is for us to declare a black holy day. The homies say that they rollin', plus we got family 40 miles up, patrolling.
So where you at, y'all? Right here. Hanging with my brothers and we shooting up there. So where you at, y'all? Right here. If you represent, throw your hands in the air. So where you at, y'all? Right here. Hanging with my brothers and we shooting up there. So where you at, y'all? Right here. If you represent, throw your hands in the air. So where you at, y'all? Right here. Hanging with my brothers and we shooting up there. So where you at, y'all? Right here. If you represent, throw your hands in the air. So where you at, y'all? Right here. Hanging with my brothers and we shooting up there. So where you at, y'all?